Like, cyberpunk. This camera likes to fuck up quite a bit. Maybe I should change this. No, it, it, it. Oh, I have so much stuff on my desk. But you can hear me. Maybe I'm just need to be closer. A little bit scattered today just because I have some friends over, so we've been hanging at the pool, so I'm a little sunburnt, a little drunk, you know. You know how it goes. You shoot the bow. Wait, what do you mean the first time you seen my bow? Been behind me like forever. You just never noticed it? I did move it. I haven't shot it in quite a while, like probably a few months to be honest. The thing is, I would usually shoot it like after work, but then I've been streaming after work for, you know, until I go to bed, so I just haven't really had the opportunity um because I've been streaming. It was over there. One over there. I moved the chat. God damn it. It was over it was right here. So I did move it, but God, what? I gotta lock these things better. My layers. What am I moving? What the fuck am I moving? I'm moving the monitor? Oh, god damn it. Well, I don't know why I need that one locked. More than anything, I'm usually just not full screen. Maybe that's like the thing. I have some friends over, so I don't have anything planned to prep for this, so we're just kind of waiting. I just wanted to start a few minutes early. Um, we do of course have the debate at 7 o'clock. Oof. I did a full fucking pool day. I am sunburned as fuck. Obviously with the lighting you can't tell, but does it look better like this or like this? Just one dimension less pale. You want to get blasted with light though. At my dehydrated eye bags. So I don't think the Pearl debate's gonna happen this weekend. Andrew hasn't heard back from her, so I assume it's not gonna happen, unfortunately. But he said that it will happen at some point. I don't know, I think it's too orange. Sorry. Will it look better this way or the other way? Yeah, I'm out. I was out in the pool all day, so I'm a little sleepy. I, I hate caffeine, but I'm drinking Coca-Cola. Alive. That's good to hear. Worried. Yeah, update on the Wagner thing. Apparently Ukraine actually mounted a counteroffensive. Whilst this was happening, which would make sense that they would do such, and they came to a resolution. They did drop the charges on the leader of the Wagner group, and now the Wagner group is returning to the front. The important part of that, I think, is just it makes Putin look really fucking weak. And this guy's better not go near like 3-story windows. Couple from Texas, so good. I don't really like Texas barbecue personally. I'm from California. I like more of like more like Mexican barbecue. Yeah, I also like more like I'm like a Memphis uh like coleslaw bitch, you know? Like I really like pulled pork sandwiches with coleslaw and shit. I think it's more of like a Memphis, like Tennessee type thing, you know? Rather than like Texas barbecue. I think Texas barbecue is just like burning meat. I said it. Memphis barbecue is mustard based. I do love mustard, so that would make sense why I would like it. I like vinegar. I'm a vinegar bitch, dude. Now we're all Texas, so hear a new Memphis place just opened up. Explain. Yo, dude, you know what's really funny? I go in like the waiting chat for the oh god damn it for the show today. Hmm. Ooh, I'm so sleepy. Oh, I think we. Weezer on shrooms last weekend. Where the fuck do you get shrooms? Do you have to like get a guy, or is there like a legal way to like get like shrooms? I don't like. God, you see how dehydrated I am. Look at how look at how baggy my eyes look. I've been out in the sun way too long today. Oh, I'm so burnt too. I can feel it. Fuck, dude. Dude, it's insane, like the weather here. It was like 120 something in Texas, like during the week. Like where the pool like didn't even feel good. I turn that off. Oh, I need to bring up my note. Unironically, I hate doing abortion debates because I feel like they just turn into like somebody just has like the feels argument. You know what I mean? Like, well, I just like because it's like you have to do the what I guess what we call the violinist argument, which is like one of the strongest ones. It's kind of transformed into the drunk driving. God, I have so many tabs open. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to clean up my tabs here. Um, why can't a man decide to not support and stuff? With abortion, some places you can get it, some places it makes everyone. No, that's right now is perfect. No, because that's not fair to people that live in those states. That's insane. That's an insane take. Like people like okay, so if you want to get an abortion, you live in a state that like doesn't like provide abortions. Like you think that most people have the wherewithal? Like, I don't even know if you understand how big the United States is. Like, if you're in Texas, it's gonna take you quite a while to get even out of this state. If you live in like, I don't know, like the southernmost tip, like if you live in like El Paso, like it's gonna take you like 6 hours to get out of the state. Like that's insane. Like, okay, so why should people like not be also on top of that, there are states like Texas who want to criminalize going to other states to get an abortion. It's ridiculous. We should just have abortion rights. Like if you don't want to get an abortion, just don't get one. Why is anyone else's like shit your business, dude? Would you go to? I don't know. What was the closest state from Texas that has, I mean, it's not something that I've uh considered. Just like personally, not that like I don't I'm not aware that camera. If I'm gonna go on all these shows and like figuring out their shit. I'm in the waiting room. Maybe I should just like log in or make an account. No, I just started. It starts at 7. Deepest airport? Dude, who the fuck wants to go to Nevada? Cringe. Accepted a deal to stand down and fly to Belarus where oh my god, I'm getting so. Wait, he's going to Belarus? I didn't see that. I thought he was just going back to the wherever they were, back to the front lines or whatever. You say wasn't. Dude, my brain is not comprehending. I spent too much time in the sun today. Probably not the best, not at my top form right now when it comes to my mental state. Out day drinking with my friends in the pool. But I think we got this. Easy. Almost as embarrassing as January says almost. They did shoot down some helicopters. I mean, to be fair, you never know if they shot down those helicopters or if they just crashed. Helicopters are like one of the worst like modes of like air travel. Should be an interesting debate. I mean, to be fair, it's not the first time I've done that. I'll just see if I can get him to say the N-word. I don't even feel like anyone thinks that's funny. I just like to say it. I don't even think it's that funny. I just think that like saying it over and over again is very funny. Like I feel like the fact that it's not funny is what makes it funny to me. Yes, it should be starting any minute now. Oh, there it is.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Hello.
Hey.
Yo, hello.
We're still waiting on Glock, but we still got a few minutes anyway. Nina, you know the rules. You've been here before. You want me to call you Cypher or?
Cypher's fine. People know me by both. My channel's crowdsourced politics. So in the intro, if we get that, I'll say that. But you can call me Cypher.
Gotcha.
It's easier to say.
Okay. Well, yeah. Cypher and Clack. If you aren't familiar already, the way we do the format, basically, you're going to get. We usually do 7 minutes, but today we're going to do 5 minutes each person for opening statements, just to save a little bit of time. And then roughly an hour to an hour and a half open dialogue, and then you'll get closing statements. And then we do call-ins, live call-ins, and super chat Q&A, that kind of stuff. So just so you're aware. But I do want to just get a quick audio check. So Clack, can you start out? Give me a check 1 2.
Check 1 2.
Okay, Cypher, go ahead.
Yeah, check 1 2.
Yes, Clack's a little bit less. Just leave it how you are. I'll turn you down on my end. Nina, go ahead.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Okay. Clack, go ahead one more time.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Okay.
I think I'm hearing some background noise from somebody. I'm not sure who that is.
It's probably me. Hang on.
Oh.
Do you sit?
God damn it, son.
No, I got a baby in the background. Okay. Like, I don't know how that's gonna go, but yeah, Glaucoma said she's a few minutes behind, so we might be starting late. Also, Clack and Cypher, if you're not familiar, like the way we'll do it is I'll drop everybody back, and once we go live, I'll come out, do an intro, and then we have like an intermission music thing that we do, and then I'll bring you guys out. You get to introduce yourself, shout yourselves out, that kind of thing. Social medias, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Also, if you suck, sometimes we will throw people off. So beware. If you suck, you might get canned, but
Okay.
it doesn't happen often. So
you're cool with dual streaming this, right? Or
yeah. And you can upload it wherever you want. We don't care. Yeah.
Okay.
Not at all.
I check in before that, just in case.
Yeah. No, you're good. But yeah, we're just waiting on Glock. So when she shows up, we'll audio check her and then we'll go live. So
Clark, do you like to be referred to as Clack? Or
So if you switch the C and the B in my name, it spells Black Conservative.
right.
But you can just call me Julian.
Julian? Okay. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
You said Julian, correct? Nice to meet you as well.
She should be here in like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oi.
That's good. Oh, also, Clack, you and Glock, are you okay with going first on your opening statements?
Yeah, we're fine with doing that.
Okay, cool.
No, that's the problem.
Also, how does my audio sound? Am I buzzing at all? I usually get static.
Yeah,
You are
buzz.
absolutely buzzing.
Okay. I always have to fix this before the streams.
Like I'm hearing like a computer fan or something.
Yeah, it's like a fan.
And if you're just modding, I think it's fine. Always a pleasure, Zen.
You got a green screen spillage too.
Yeah, I know.
If
I'm
you
having all
care
kinds of
about
issues right now.
Sorry, it's a green screen behind me too. It's not obvious.
Okay, how's the mic now? Check 1 2 1 2.
The exact same, to be
Good.
honest. I mean, it was
Shit.
fine.
What is it?
It's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just I'm hearing some background noise. I don't know if you got somebody.
Like, is it constant? Like, is it just a constant buzzing or what?
It's when you talk.
Yeah,
It sounds like a whirl. It's kind of like
At the end, I'm guessing. Or what?
No,
it's
pretty.
just when you talk.
Fuck. Okay. I think it might be the chords. Like I don't know, dude.
Well, no, it's just
I
something
need
as
to-
background noise. It's not like it doesn't sound like it's coming from like your tech. It just sounds like it's just something in the background. Like I think
Yeah,
it's
like
fine.
a computer fan.
Yeah, like just like I think it's fine. It's not like
Okay,
horrible at all.
Is
She's
that
logging in
any
right
better?
now.
The
Is
same.
that
It's-
any better?
Yeah,
If I just move it away.
It's fine.
it's
Okay.
fine.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's not distracting and it doesn't come through unless you're talking. So
Right. Okay. Cool.
Classic.
How old are you,
Right wingers
Julian?
can't show up on time. Sorry.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
What? She's probably doing her makeup or something, right? Fucking women, am I right? Women
showed
can't
up on
show up
time.
on.
No, she got up like 8 hours early to do her lashes. So.
you know her like that? Okay.
Here, I can show you how quick you hear that.
Julian, how old are you? Just curious.
Well, I'm 18 years old.
You're only 18? Okay.
I'm like going into my sophomore year of college.
Okay.
I have some people at my house. Hopefully they will respect my space, but if they roll through, I apologize.
Are you still living with John Zerka?
No, I don't know what the fuck. He left all of his shit here, but like he has not come back to get it. Like his computer's here and it's just like been in like storage in my house for a while. He's like,
But he's
"Oh, I'll
just a
come in a
troll,
week. I'll come in a week," but he's been saying that for like 2 months.
So that guy's just a troll, right?
hmm
He's just a total troll.
For the most part, yes. He's unironically a little unwell mentally, but like he's not an idiot, I'll say. Like he would be able to withstand like a trial, like he wouldn't be seen as incompetent or anything like that, but I do think he's a little mentally unwell, and in terms of like something that he's been very honest about. But I mean, obviously, I love the guy as like a friend in a certain way, but I don't approve of a lot of things that he's doing.
Yeah. Wait, let me test something here. Let me just use my dad.
Yeah, it might be better too if you have the mic closer to you. I am so sorry. I completely forgot. Clack, what did you want to be referred to? I'm so sorry.
Oh, you can just refer to me as Julian.
Julian, I was gonna say Jordan. Okay. Have you been to like a Trump rally? I noticed you're wearing a "Make America Great."
Oh, no, I
Okay.
haven't been to a Trump rally.
Would you want to? I'm just curious, like what type of like how like
Would I want to
stoked
go?
are you?
I don't think I would waste my time doing that.
Really?
No.
Why? If you don't mind me asking. You don't have to answer.
Well, just doesn't seem like a productive use of my time.
Okay.
Yeah, rallies are pretty meh.
Well, I figure they're like
They're
for
fun.
fun, right? Yeah. Showing your support and stuff like that.
I'd go to a pro-life rally. I'd do that.
That doesn't
Like
seem very
March for
fun.
Life.
Have you?
Oh, damn.
No, I really want to go though.
Is there a reason why you haven't gone?
Yeah, it's hard to. When I was younger, it's really hard. Didn't have a car, but now that I can drive, I'll probably go to one.
All right, we got glaucoma here. Hey, what's
So
up?
sorry.
Finally, Glock.
Hello.
No, you're good.
Oh, I love the outfit. Hi.
Yeah, let me go around real quick. One more time, Glock. Give me a test 1, 2, 3.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clack, go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Wait, can I move?
Yeah. Cypher, go ahead.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. And Nina, go ahead.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Did everybody sound good on your end? Like, did anybody sound too loud? Did anybody else? No.
No, this time.
No, Glock's a
did
little
you say she was
quiet, but not too bad.
Who is?
Glock's just a little quiet, but it's not a big deal if she can't.
I'll work
turn
it out as we go if
Yeah.
we need to.
No worries.
But
Everyone sounds great.
I don't. Where did she say she was going? Oh,
Okay,
there she is.
I was moving stuff in the background. It's a little crazy.
No, you're good.
No
Okay.
worries.
So you haven't been here before, but if you're not already familiar, we're just gonna do everybody's going to get 5 minutes for opening statements, just to save time. It's usually 7. And then roughly an hour to an hour and a half of dialogue. And then you'll all get closing statements, and we'll do live call-in, super chat Q&A, that kind of thing. So, and I told the other people, don't suck or else you get thrown off. So I don't know. I don't think we'll have that problem tonight, but if you guys suck, you'll find out. Anyway, we are ready to go live here in a second. Just getting some stuff ready here. And I'm gonna do the intros, and then you'll know when I bring you out, you'll get a chance to shout yourself out and everything like that. So everything cool. And Glock, are you guys good with? You're both good with going first?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna drop everybody back, and we're gonna go live right now.
Try to have your fucking ears blown. Oh, it's not too loud. I go to the bathroom. I don't really need to. Right. I'm gonna be an adult. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Crucible. I am your host, Zen Shapiro. Thank you all for being here tonight. Very excited. We've got an abortion debate. We've got Nina returning. She's well known here at The Crucible, a fan favorite, if you will. Lover or hater, she always brings good energy, and it's a good time. She's going to be teaming up with Crowdsourced Politics, who's a newcomer here at The Crucible. They're going to be defending the pro-choice / pro-abortion position against two newcomers on the pro-life side, Clack Conservative and Glaucoma. Should be fun. As you guys, most of you may know, abortion is my wheelhouse, so I always enjoy a good abortion debate. Seems to be regaining popularity in the mainstream. I know that they just had the Whatever podcast, had a big debate with Destiny and Lila Rose. So I hope you guys are excited. I know I am. Before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys, please do all the YouTube shit. Like, share, subscribe, help us out in the algorithm. We're just coming off of those channel strikes. So we're back on the main channel now, thankfully. But we're still kind of recovering with all the strikes and the backup channels, and the algorithm doesn't like that kind of stuff. So do your part and give us the engagement that helps us kind of regain the traction that we had before all that. And if you want to support us, you can do so via super chats, either on YouTube or the Dono Chat link, which is pinned at the top of the live chat. Send your super chat questions. They all will be read at the end of the debate. And we will be taking callers tonight, as always. So if you want to call in, ask a question directly to either debater, you can do so by going to the Discord and getting a stream link from the mods, and you can call in, ask the question directly. And the best way to support us is to become a channel member. With the channel memberships, you get all the special perks. You get the special members only content. You get to throw tomato soup cans, the members only emojis. All of it's lots of fun. Highly recommend. So become a channel member. Help us out here at The Crucible. We appreciate all of your support. That being said, we will be right back with our debaters. we're back. Thank you all for being here tonight. We've got Cypher, also known as Crowdsourced Politics, on the left, along with Nina, and then on the right, we've got Conservative and Glaucoma. Crowdsourced Politics, take a second, shout yourself out, tell everybody where they can find you.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here. Thank you, Zen, for reaching out and offering to have me on. My name is Cypher. I stream under the moniker of Crowdsourced Politics. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube. We cover a bunch of different stuff, a little more heavy-handed than might otherwise be on Twitch, but we try to keep it professional and keep it informative. So glad to be here again, and we'll see how it goes.
And Nina, like I said, fan favorite here at the Crucible, doesn't really need much of an introduction, but go ahead, shout yourself out, tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm Nina from twitch.tv/Nina. I am, I feel like the token leftist on the channel generally. I'm very excited to have this debate. I love doing the 2v2s with Cypher. We've done them before, so I think it'll be a lot of fun to do it again. And it's a pleasure to meet all of our new competitors here. And again, twitch.tv/Nina, and let it back to you.
And Conservative, go ahead, shout yourself out, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Conservative, or Black Conservative. I go by Conservative on TikTok, and I'm interested in normative ethics and mathematics.
All right, and Glaucoma, shout yourself out, tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm mainly on TikTok. It's glaucoma with 3 A's at the end. I run a really hectic Discord debate server, so we talk about a lot of philosophical topics in there. Not so much political, but sometimes we'll dive into that. And I just like talking about things like abortion and veganism and gender. Hopefully I can talk about gender on here sometime. Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, they are going to be debating abortion. And before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys one more time, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube shit, send those super chats, become a channel member. All of it helps us out. We appreciate everybody's support. We did discuss backstage that the right side of the screen would go first. Normally we do 7-minute openers, but because we've got it's a 2v2, I want to save a little bit of time. So we're only going to get 5 minutes per person on opening statements. You don't have to use all of it. Use it as you wish, but Glock or Clack, whichever of you wants to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. And then Julian, if you want to add anything, you can. But I think I was going to cover the opening and keep it pretty short and sweet. But I mean, today we're here talking about the ethics of abortion. And so my partner Julian and I are going to be defending the view that in most cases, abortion is seriously wrong. Now, I believe I share the intuition along with most people that death and murder are one of the worst things that can happen to somebody. But society seems to turn their head when the life being taken away is a fetus, in which I'd like to know what's the morally relevant difference between a fetus and an infant, for example. Sorry, I got the notification. So what's a morally relevant difference between a fetus and an infant, for example, such that it's okay to kill one and not the other? Julian and I argue that there's none, because just like us and just like the infant, the fetus has a valuable future, and depriving the fetus of a future like ours is prima facie morally wrong. Now, I believe this is supported by other ethical intuitions that we all share on the panel, such as why killing is one of the worst crimes, why terminal illnesses are so bad, why it's seriously wrong to kill children. I mean, in fact, we even grieve even more so when the killing imposes a misfortune of premature death. So altogether, just to keep this pretty short and sweet, the view that Julie and I will be defending today is a conjunction of future like ours and responsibility principles that best encapture our ethical intuitions about parenthood and moral value. Julian, do you want to add anything?
No, that was perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, you guys want to concede the rest of your time then?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then left side, Cypher and Nina, you guys have 5 minutes per person. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Nina, you want me to go first? I'm sorry, we didn't cover that right.
Yeah, we did, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. Sorry.
That's
all right.
Fair.
So thank you again, everybody, for having me on. So let's get into this. Tonight, we are going to debate the morality of abortion. I am clearly on the pro-choice side. As you listened to our opponents, they are clearly on the anti-abortion or anti-choice side. However you want to frame it, I think both are fine. Now, this is an important distinction to make, because when I say pro-choice, I don't know many people that are actually just gun-ho antinatalist. I don't think anybody on this panel is. I don't know anybody that's actually antinatalist. It's a very uncommon viewpoint. And so that's one we're just going to push aside and just completely ignore. However, my opponents have already stated they are going to focus on the morality of a framing called a future like ours. And this morality framing presupposes that everybody, as just simply due to existence, deserves to have a future. It presupposes that a future is one that we can all visualize and say, okay, we don't want to impound upon someone else's future, so therefore abortion is wrong, similar to, I guess, murder, but I don't know if they'll have anything else that they would consider to be that. If we are going to have, if we're going to do this kind of thing, we have to also acknowledge that there are other instances of where, as far as a legal standpoint is concerned, abortion is completely a moral necessity. We will get into where those things are, but I'm sure that everybody can understand, if the life of the mother is at risk of something, then you can't really necessarily weight the health of the pre-proposed child versus a living, breathing human being with the ability to make choices, have intuition, have morality, have emotions, etc. So I think that's what we're going to be getting in tonight. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you for that opener. And Nina, I'm going to reset the clock here real quick. You got 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I know these 2v2s can get a little bit bogged down if we're all doing long ones, so I'm also going to keep it a little short and sweet. And because I do want to just get into it, right? So I just want to respond mostly. Of course, I agree with what my partner said about his positions. We've talked about this at length, obviously. But I wanted to just respond a little bit to, obviously we're going to get right into it, but very confusing statement where I believe Glaucoma said, we disagree that terminal illnesses are so bad. That was a little confusing. So if we want to lead right into it, I just want to see what does that have to do with anything?
Can we get into it? Or is that...
Yeah. Are you done with your opener then, Nina?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I was something. Yeah. Okay. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody one more time: shameless shilling and plugging here at the Crucible. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube shit. We are going to be taking callers as always. So if you want to call in, ask a question directly, get into the Discord, which you'll see the mods posting the link to in the live chat. Get a stream link from the mods in the Discord, and you can call in, ask a question directly to either debater. Be sure to get in there early because sometimes the queue fills up. We can't get to everybody. And as always, we're going to be taking super chats. So send those in either on YouTube or on Dono Chat, which is pinned in the top of the live chat. Send your questions in. Those will all get read. And we can get right into it. We're going to have roughly an hour to an hour and a half of open dialogue. The floor is open.
Okay. What was needed clarification on? What statement?
You said that we disagree on everything, and one of the things that you listed was terminal illnesses are bad.
No. So the statement was that we typically share some ethical intuition. So if I ask the panel, do you think that killing is wrong, all else equal? I assume that the panel's going to say, yeah, that's probably wrong. Do you think that terminal illnesses are bad, like that they're a sad situation? We're probably all going to agree yes. So I was saying that we're probably in agreement upon certain ethical intuitions that we have. That was just an example.
Well, that's not ethical.
I don't know if necessarily. Go ahead, Nina. Sorry.
That doesn't really seem like an ethical statement.
What do you take ethical statement to be?
Well, I mean, it's not. It just kind of seems like a objective statement that terminal illnesses. I mean, do you think that anyone it's not really like a thing that I would imagine?
Maybe there's confusion on what objective means there, but we don't have to get into that. But so by like a shared ethical intuition, just a shared ethical intuition. When I'm using moral language like good or bad, like I said, that's bad. Killing's wrong. That's just an ethical statement that I'm making. I'm just making.
So you think
claim.
Killing in all situations is wrong?
All else equal was what I said.
Yeah, when did we say that killing in all situations is wrong?
Well, I'm just trying to clarify the positions.
Other people's lives at
Yeah,
risk
all else equal. So all else equal. Of course, if there's external considerations like, oh, you found out someone died, you might have a reaction that that's sad, and then you found out that they actually broke into someone's house and were trying to commit a heinous crime. Then of course you're going to change your mind and say those external considerations. Sorry.
So
no, I'm sorry.
My question would be.
No,
if you're still going, please continue. I'm trying to use.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
So you don't think that killing in of itself it's morally neutral? You would say.
I just have the intuition I reported was just that killing is wrong, and there's typically external consideration. So that's all
But
else
if there is external considerations to be had, then killing in of itself is a morally neutral act.
Well, so
No,
There are
we're
not
not saying that. We're
infinite
saying that if you kill someone, it's going to ask as prima facie justification against doing that action.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some cases in which killing someone could be justified,
Mhm.
but killing is
So the-
usually a bad thing, and therefore it gives.
But if you're
No,
saying
the
usually,
act of
then that's
killing
what I'm
is
getting
neutral.
at. It's morally
Yeah,
wrong.
that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying that it could go either way based on the situation.
So
But-
the statement, I can kind of slow it down. So just when I say all else equal, that means in this situation where there are no external considerations, you would probably have the intuition that it's wrong. Nobody agrees that in self-defense, then it's totally okay because you were defending yourself.
Right,
and
because
whatever.
because
Yeah,
then killing in of itself is a neutral act. Where
Right.
you're getting at is whether or not something should be considered murder.
So
Murder
no, I'm
is
not
when we
saying
talk
killing
about.
all else equal. No, so just the statement is all else equal, killing is wrong. I'm not sure what the confusion on that's just a super.
No. We're trying to clarify language here. So the
Yeah.
reason why it's important to clarify this language is because if we're going to talk about abortion, then if there are externalities that we agree that are something to the effect of justifying it, then we have to say what is a justified abortion versus what is not a justified abortion.
Yeah, and by
So
we, your
killing.
team has the burden because we just established that it's all else equal.
But you already said that generally speaking, right? And you said it in the opening
Yeah, so
statement.
if
You
you'd
said
like
the
to provide
most
the external
abortion.
considerations, if you'd like to provide the external considerations that
No.
considering
I need to know
We're
what
just trying to set
you
the framework
have
here.
as you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to know what your guys' external.
We're just positing this as just prima facie justification. So if you have some, external reasons why killing could be okay, list them. I noticed in your opening statement, you said that it could be okay if the mother's life is at risk.
Mhm.
And do you know the maternal mortality rate?
I do actually.
Yeah. Let's see where this is going.
What's the maternal mortality rate?
The mother mortality rate varies based on a number of different factors, race included. I believe it is around, generally speaking, 30%. It's pretty high.
30%? You think?
Yeah.
You think
It's
30%
I think it
of
was
pregnancies the mother's dying?
around 17. But again, it absolutely depends where.
17%? You think in 17% of pregnancies the mother's dying? Have you done any research?
Would you
at
like
all?
the? Would you?
Well,
like
I
the
don't
source?
care about this question, but
Yeah,
that's
well,
fine. Go
it's
ahead.
from the
It's 33 in
CDC. So
100,000. And if you wanna posit the mother's life at risk, can you name me other significant risk of pregnancy? And we can go over them too.
okay, no, we're getting away from where we wanted to. We need to establish
No, we're
these
going
things. We
exactly
don't have a
where we
lot.
wanna go.
No, because
we need to
You're not
register.
even
Do you
sure
think
your
killing
position.
is a
Your position is
neutral
that the mother's
act?
life is at risk, or the mother
There's-
has these complications, and you don't even know what complications you're talking about. You don't know placenta.
Okay, I know you want to do
don't know
your
placenta
dialogue
yet.
tree, but
You don't know
we
preeclampsia.
really
You
want to
don't
establish
know
this is
Julian.
important.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so yeah, when I made the statement, we can go back to the statement. So all else equal, killing is wrong. Agree or disagree, left side of the panel.
All is equal. So then that would imply that just in every situation, killing is wrong, right?
Nope. All else equal is just not considering external circumstances. So like self-defense is not going to be. So I don't know.
Okay, so then nothing, like, that doesn't even really make sense as a statement. We're talking about how killing is a neutral act. It seems like you might be agreeing with that then, because if we're saying
I'm
like
not sure.
killing is not either one or the other, but you just think that like killing is wrong, but then you also would agree that in self-defense that it is not wrong. So it really seems to me that we're talking about like killing as a neutral action because it could go either way.
Okay, have you heard the term all else equal before?
I don't understand what you're using it as.
We actually agree all else equal if there's if it's no other externality. I want to get off
Right,
this point
that
because it's
is
pointless. I just wanted to get to the fact
okay.
that what we're actually arguing about, and this is the way I'm going to be framing it, is we're actually arguing about what is the definition of murder.
Right.
Well, sorry, I don't know how we jumped to there because we're just talking about. Okay, so are we moving off from the point? So we agree that all else equal, killing is wrong. So it seems like you guys agree with the right side of the panel on that. Okay.
I mean, sure.
And so when it comes to killing a fetus, you guys hold the view that it's now not wrong, or what's the view? Neutral, not wrong, permissible.
The killing a fetus isn't killing of a person.
Okay, so person. What's meant by person there?
Person. Do you know what personhood is?
I mean, I have an idea of personhood. I'm just asking what your idea of personhood is.
So if you know what it is, then why are you asking me?
Or do you think we have the same? Well, if we grant moral consideration at conception and you grant it at another time, do you think that we have the same
Yeah, we do.
idea of personhood?
Obviously not. So that's why I'm saying
Right.
a fetus is not does not have granted of personhood. A fetus does not have a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Do you want
And
to
then
get
the
into this
original,
debate?
well, sorry, the question I was asked was, what's
Mhm.
your idea of person or personhood?
I would say
I'm sorry.
like
Say again. Sorry, I got
maybe
distracted
like
by chat.
viability. Is that what you're kind of asking? Like, what is the question exactly?
Yeah. Sorry, Julian, you can cut me off at any time
So
too.
yeah, if it's just personhood viability, I have some questions for you. Especially when it comes to the 20 to 39 week period when the fetus is conscious. So most people are going to value the fetus at this time. Do you think it's okay to remove the fetus at 20 to 40 weeks?
We're talking about viability here. Can it survive outside
Yes,
of
it's
the womb?
okay to have a C-section at 20 to 40 weeks. Remove the fetus.
You said a C-section. That implies that implies birth. So
Yeah. Is a
It
C-section
implies
not
birth.
giving birth? Do you not
Do you
give
think
birth
it's
to
wrong to
somebody
give? Do you
who
think
has a
it's wrong to give the
C-section?
fetus fetal alcohol syndrome?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I couldn't hear you.
Do you think it's wrong to give the fetus fetal alcohol syndrome?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, then you should oppose abortions at this 20 to
don't.
39 week period because
What is that?
the fetus. Let me pull up the
Go ahead.
statistics. Right, the fetus is going to have increased chance of hearing, sight, intellectual disabilities. 4 out of 10 at the 25 week period. And it's also risk to the mother with blood clots, hemorrhaging, infection, and inflammation to the uterus. So you're not only putting the fetus's life at risk with disabilities, you're putting the mother's life at risk too.
All the more reason why abortion should be legal.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just to slow it down. So sorry, and I just want to understand the view. So once the fetus is viable, so once the mother can, like, I don't know at what time frame you hold that, but once the fetus can survive outside of the womb, you think it deserves some kind of moral consideration or a parental obligation would enact at that point?
I personally agreed with the Roe standard. That seemed to be the best way to divide the baby in half.
I think that's fair.
They're not tracking though, right? They're not tracking at all what I said before. If you allow C-sections at this period, 20 to 39 weeks, it's going to come at increased risk for the fetus and increased risk for the woman. So you're permitting dangerous situations for not only women, but fetuses allowing C-sections at this point. That is why hospitals will not give you a C-section unless it's an absolute medical necessity before 39 weeks.
I don't see how this is relevant.
Yeah, entails harming the fetus with intellectual disabilities, sight problems, hearing problems, behavioral problems, dental problems, cerebral palsy. You are advocating for all these things to happen to the fetus when they grow up, all these harmful things, and yet you say,
no, how are we advocating for that? I don't understand how we're advocating for that. One, neither Nina nor myself said anything about C-section. You did. And then you brought that up after. Hold on, you brought that up after. You brought that up after talking about fetal alcohol syndrome. So you're kind of going all over the place. I don't know exactly where you're going with this.
Not tracking.
Here, let me.
No, I am tracking. I just need to understand.
Guys, hang on. I kind of agree that it might be going off track a little bit. I think what's pertinent to establish first is Glock asked like what you guys define person as, and obviously you have to have some disagreement there if they're declaring a person at conception and you guys declare it at some other point. I do think that is probably the most pertinent route to go down before we get into the later stuff. But I think that we kind of diverted from that. So
I don't think so, because they said personhood is going to be defined by viability. I gave them standards. If you allow the viability to happen at this 20 to 39 week period, you're going to be allowing for all these things because you're saying the fetus can be removed by C-section at 20 to 39 weeks if you hold the viability standard. So all those complications I listed apply to your standard.
I don't understand how that's holding the viability standard was established because the Supreme Court at the time actually took these kind of arguments that we're actually going to be making into consideration. They balanced the life of the mother against the life of the fetus. They balanced the personhood of the fetus versus the personhood of the mother. They balanced body autonomy and versus the act of whatever you want to call it, murder, killing, whatever. They balanced all these things out and came with the 24-week standard. And the reason they came up with the 24-week standard is for things that we might get into: the ability to have a conscience, feels, the actual brain development, so they have a personality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It has nothing to do with that.
Answer the question there. Right?
So
the question doesn't matter.
The question, it doesn't matter. You said your standard is viability, and you're saying the implications of having viability as a standard of personhood don't in fact matter?
No, the fact that you are insisting that by saying that we are talking about viability necessitates the fact that we should be pro C-section for the fetus and the mother is frankly non sequitur. That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hold the viability standard, you're saying the mother has to carry to term these babies at 20 weeks.
That's exactly how that standard was set up. Yes, it had to carry to term unless there was other complications which endangered the life of the mother.
And why would consciousness matter to your stance?
Consciousness matters because that's when personhood comes into it.
Well, hold on really quick. I just want to get some clarification. So do you hold the view that once the fetus is viable around that same time that the fetus has some consciousness or?
Yeah, because of brain development. It's roughly anywhere between 24 and 27 weeks or so is when there's actually enough brain matter and connections and everything else like that to actually have a viable fetus that doesn't have to go through an immense amount of suffering in order to stay alive, as well as actually having the neural synapses to actually have a personality.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the consciousness, discussion about the empirics or whatever after, but just about your viability stance. So you're saying it's more like, you're saying that the fetus deserves moral consideration and it's not permissible to kill it once it can survive outside the mother's womb.
No, you keep saying
I'm just
killing.
trying to understand if it was a question.
No, I know, but the reason why I had murder is because you keep saying killing. So if there is this, like you said, an external instance where, I don't know, there was a miscarriage that didn't get fully passed at 25 weeks or something, then the legal framework for that and the medical procedure would be an abortion. It would still be a D&C.
So what's the issue with me using, in an elective abortion, what's the issue with me using the word killing?
Well, then now you're talking about an elective abortion, because if the fetus suddenly at like 24 weeks or something, we find out that it doesn't have the ability to survive outside the womb, would killing it then be immoral in your opinion?
So that was the question I'm posing to you right now. So I'm essentially saying that I just want to clarify that the fetus is given moral consideration once it can survive outside the womb. Once it can survive, right, then there's no need to get an abortion or some parental obligation enacts.
So there can be a reason to get an abortion, but I've been rambling too long, so I'd like Nina to jump in.
Okay, so no, I'm just trying to figure out. So do you guys believe in the idea of like parental obligation? Do you think that once you have a child, I don't know, whenever, once it's born, once it's 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, that you have some type of moral duty to take care of your child?
Adoption exists, so no.
Okay, well, so if you can transfer the obligation, then sure, but I'm talking about, okay, so you hold the view that once the fetus is outside the womb, it's given moral consideration and you have a duty to take care of it unless you can transfer the obligation?
Is that a question? Unless you can, what exactly are you asking?
Okay.
You're saying that you should be required to take care of a baby unless you can have somebody else take care of it? Is that kind of what you're getting at here?
Yeah, do you believe, so I'll try to make it simpler. Do you believe that parents are obligated to take care of their children at some point? It doesn't need to be in utero, and it can be at birth. Like whenever you believe that this obligation enacts, like, do you believe that it even exists? That's my question.
Again, you're saying that is not considering like, so going away from like maybe giving your kid up for adoption or giving them to like a family member, you think outside of that, that's what you're asking?
Yeah.
As in like the other option would just be like what, like leaving them on the street to die or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you think it's wrong for a parent to do that because they have some type of moral duty to take care of their children and they can't just leave their children on the side of the road?
I don't really feel like that's a fair statement at all, because that is completely foregoing the aspects that you're saying like isn't the options of like they don't have other alternatives, right?
Sorry. So do you know, I can stipulate like a very specific hypothetical if this helps. So in the hypothetical, you have a mother and she has a child, a 5-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does this mother have an obligation to feed her child, for example? Does she have to feed her child so her child survives?
She's a 5-year-old child? Sure, yeah.
I don't know if this is like intentionally bad faith or if there's like really confusing aspects to the question. Does a mother, so just so the audience knows, the question is, if a mother has a 5-year-old child, should she feed it? We're stuck on the question. I don't know how to read it.
Like what the fuck?
Yes. Okay, so you believe that at some point parents have a moral duty to protect the well-being of their children. Great. And you think that the morally relevant factor that enacts this is going to be once it can survive outside of the womb, and that's relevant. Why?
do you think an adoptive parent doesn't have that same responsibility?
Sorry, I don't see the relevance of the question. Yeah, parental obligation, it doesn't matter. Yeah, whoever is obligated to take care of the child.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be.
I would say this is a social thing, but I'm sorry, Nina, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like you're talking about like, are you trying to talk about like on a biological or just like a social sense? If you're talking about in a social sense, of course, like any kid or any parent who is responsible for their kid that have taken on that responsibility of like having their kid or whatever, like adoptive or biological, like yeah, of course they should have the social responsibility to take care of them because that's
perfect. Okay,
what they wanted.
We agree. Great. Yeah. So, but you think that starts, right? That this moral consideration starts when you have to start taking care of your child, unless you can transfer the obligation once the fetus can survive outside of the womb. I'm asking why that's morally relevant. The fetus surviving outside of your womb.
Well, we're talking about like, when we're talking about like a personhood or whatever, I would say I'd go with the viability argument. Like you are like in like a different library, my girl. Like what the fuck are we talking about when we're relating that? I'm not understanding the direct
why
thing.
It's morally relevant.
Yeah, no. So the question is,
what is
so
my
I know
argument?
that
you asked me a question and I answered it.
People get personhood at viability, which actually contradicts with your partner's argument, who says that consciousness matters. So is it viability or consciousness? I'm just so confused.
I mean, they're kind of go hand in hand. That's why the viability standard. That is why the viability standard was made. Yes, it was.
Julian, so just really quick, no, I can't even establish. I'm literally just trying to establish that, because I'm asking. So you're saying that the fetus at one point, it's morally permissible to get an abortion, right? You have no obligation to this fetus at all during this stage, right? And then once you hit this stage, which for you is the fetus surviving outside of the womb, there's some obligation. You have to take care of it unless you can transfer that. So I'm.
What?
Okay, I'll just go down. So there's a time in utero where you say people can get an abortion. They don't have any obligation, responsibility to take care of this fetus. And then at another point,
so we're not talking about abortion here. You're just kind of having a different philosophical argument. Can we get back to actually talking about abortion? Why do you think that it's not okay to have an abortion?
Sorry, maybe your partner can track the conversation. I can ask him the same question. Do you want
I just don't think it's. I think we're both on the same page, or I think this is like a really weird like process that we're going down. You're supposed to be. You went first because you're in the affirmative about like saying that you don't think abortion should be legal, right?
It's really easy. So when you say viability is my cutoff, and I go, why does that matter?
Okay,
and you're like, this is
okay. Well, I'm talking about on a legal sense, of course. Generally, that's where we come to. Like, it's like if we're talking about the philosophy, which I guess is the title, whatever. But like when I say that, I'm definitely talking about the legal aspect of it. Okay, like
that's not
the important one.
Wait, sorry, really quick, Nina. Can you tell me the question that I originally asked you?
Do you want me to repeat the exact same question? I'm not sure. You have a weird way you word things.
Just ballpark. What was the question that I asked you that I'm trying to get an answer to?
You're talking about something about like viability and obligation of violate. Like I don't understand the relevance of any of that. We're talking about abortion here. You guys are saying that abortion is bad. We're pro-choice. You're the ones who are being the authoritarian, picking like, oh, you can't have an abortion. So you need to be the ones to prove to us why that is a problem.
Sorry, I mean, for time's sake, like if we're just gonna not answer questions and you want Julie and I to answer your questions,
okay, well you're literally not answering my questions, so I guess we could just continue to not answer questions.
Okay, hang on. Women, settle down, separate.
Oh, stop it.
Okay. Anyway,
sorry,
so Nina, I do think your question is fair, and I'm going to make sure you get a chance to ask it. But I also think Glock's question is fair. She just kind of what she's asking is, what's the delineation? What's the meaningful distinction between the thing at pre-viability and and I guess you would call it a person post-viability? She just wants to know what's the meaningful distinction between those two things and like where exactly you're drawing.
Okay, because then it could exist outside of the body. Then, if that's what you're asking, can it exist without like if I have like a baby, can it exist outside of me?
Well, that's a good question. I don't hold the view that infants can survive on their own. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, can it physically? I understand, like, you know, you have to feed like a baby or whatever. But like, if I'm talking about physically, like if you have like a clump of cells, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, let's see, like maybe 2 months old fetus, right? Like, yeah, it's like it's not. If you take that out, it's not going to be able to survive. It doesn't matter who takes care of it. It's not going to exist, right?
If you put an infant in a room for a week, is it going to survive?
If there's another person to take care of it, sure.
There's not. So I mean, I could just.
Okay, but
you're
saying you're saying that you just think that for some reason like babies like can't like they have to have their mothers. Plenty of babies have survived without their moms.
It's a hot take, but children typically need parents to take care of them.
Yeah, but not their biological. They don't need their biological parents. That's like ridiculous. That's like saying like a father can't take care of a baby. That's
No.
Is that not what you're saying?
I think what Glock is trying to get at here is, and I'm going to try to steel man you a bit. So tell me if I'm wrong, please. Okay, is what it boils down to is that because a child cannot survive completely on its own, that we acknowledge on the panel, everybody on the panel agrees that there is some sort of social obligation, whether it is the actual parent of the child, the biological parent, or somebody else that's near the child has to take care of it. Ergo, the same thing should be applied to a fetus. Is that what you're getting at?
So no, I'm not making any claims right now. I'm trying to understand the view that there's some distinction between, okay, the fetus is using my internal resources, and then once it's out of the womb, it's using my maybe external resources, and I'm asking what's the morally relevant difference?
The moral distinction between the two is that the fetus, while it's inside the body, subsists off of you directly, versus while outside of the body, it subsists off of the grand scheme of the social setting that in which it exists in. It could be the parents, it could be social, it could be a tribe. It doesn't fucking matter. It's everybody's obligation after that point to ensure that the child is taken care of.
Okay, can I stipulate a hypothetical?
I don't care. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So you have, just take it that you have a mother and she just gave birth. She has an infant. They're on vacation. They go up to the cabin in the woods or something like that. Okay, they go really far away. And this mother just decides that she doesn't want to be a parent anymore, or it's just really hard and it's really frustrating. But there's nobody around to transfer the obligation to. Okay, so the mother has two options, right? So in the hypothetical stipulated, you can't transfer the obligation, right? But the mother has an option to either, I guess, commit to this moral duty or whatever and continue taking care of the well-being of her child, or she can just walk out of the cabin and leave the infant there to die. So under the hypothetical where you cannot transfer the obligation, do you think you have a moral duty to your child?
Correct.
So you do. So I don't know why we're throwing in the transferring obligation, because even if you can't, you still have a duty to it. So you can't when you're pregnant, you can't transfer the obligation. And in the hypothetical, you can't transfer the obligation, but it's okay to kill one and not the other. Why?
Because one is a person, the other is not.
Okay,
and that personhood argument, I've already explained this. So let me explain it one more time.
Wait, no. Like I need to respond to what Nina said. She said that our stance is authoritarian. I want to know that Cypher's consciousness stance is going to apply to all animals. And it also says that we should all be vegans because animals are persons too. So if you're calling my stance authoritarian and that you have to support a pregnancy, I think saying that everybody should be vegan is even more authoritarian. And also, I just wanted to point out, Cypher and Nina, you're holding completely different positions in personhood. And no, viability and consciousness don't go together. One is saying you become a person when you get consciousness. The other one is saying you become a person when you can live outside the mother.
Okay, so the thing that you are missing here is that the reason the legal viability standard was established is because of the weighing of where a mother's body autonomy starts and the fetus's body autonomy starts. And the reason they said 24 weeks is because, one, it is generally speaking, a viable pregnancy at that point. And two, because of brain development. Brain development was actually implemented in the viability standards. You can read the Roe arguments and the supporting documentation that went into the legal considerations of establishing the Roe viability standard.
I frankly don't care why the law was established. I care what your position is. You can't hold two positions on personhood.
It's not contradictory positions. The reason
they are contradictory positions.
They are not contradictory because the law was established for viability because of the existence of a consciousness, to a degree.
Okay, so wait. So how about if you're conscious and then you're not viable?
Then what? So you're conscious and not viable. I don't know what you mean. Give me an example. I'd like to know.
You have consciousness, but you're not viable.
Give me an example.
Like maybe like an 18-week pregnancy, 18 weeks earliest.
24. The reason that 24 weeks is established is because of brain development. A consciousness.
I'm telling you, in this case, it's possible. It's at least like It's at least metaphysically possible that there can be a
No,
fetus.
I don't care about
18 weeks is
metaphysical.
conscious.
I don't care about the metaphysical
Oh, God.
argument here.
We have
18
scientific evidence showing
18
that there
weeks.
is data that supports
18
that there
weeks
can be
does not.
consciousness at 18 weeks.
18
Okay, but-
weeks does not establish the neural network required in the brain in order to have a personality and consciousness. It just isn't there. So what the metaphysical argument for this does not matter. You have to go based on the biological and scientific argument for this.
Oh, I mean, I could literally just pose a hypothetical, but there is data we can see that at 18 weeks the fetus may have consciousness, and
okay, so do people in a coma,
synapse
and we
for it.
still like are okay with like taking them off life support. So like I don't really feel like that necessarily is a strong argument. Oh no, we can't do that. Okay.
Typically,
Well, just to be clear, I think Nina is talking about brain death coma versus not like consciousness coma with brain activity going on.
Yeah. So sorry, you take it that how do you define sentience or consciousness? Like what is that encapturing to you?
That encaptures personality, emotions, the ability to have conscious thought, the ability to make moral reasoning to a degree. There are more
So you're saying the
kids
fetus
have
has the
moral
capacity
reasoning.
for these things at what period around
It's
viability?
24 to 27 weeks is the around about time of when the brain develops enough capacity to have those.
Okay. And so why do you believe that? Like what are you looking at? EEG waves? Like what do you
EEG, the brain structure, etc. Like there's not the
you take it like things like personality have like a physical location?
No, in order to have a personality, you have to have the biological capacity for it. So if your brain is smooth, you're not going to have a personality.
What are the necessary conditions to be sentient?
I thought I just listed them. So
no,
if they're necessary, then like 1-year-olds who can't act as moral agents aren't.
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear you. Can you say that again? It's my headset.
She asked you what are the necessary conditions to be sentient. And
you
said you listed them, and you listed moral
brain development, the folds in the brain, the ability to have the synapses fire, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mere brain activity isn't enough to establish that there is sentience. You have to have the physical components that create that, and that requires the brain to be in a certain period of development, and that is, from what we know, between 24 and 27 weeks.
Sorry,
everybody develops differently.
I didn't get the necessary conditions, but I mean we can.
Okay, so like
physical brain structure. I can't list them all. I'm not a scientist.
Brain structure that could mean anything. Just you seem to not know your stance. What is it?
No, I know what my stance is. I just can't give you the particulars.
Like he's not a
just really quick too.
brain
Sorry,
surgeon here. What are you expecting from him?
If there was evidence that came out, or there was just some strong evidence that the fetus could be sentient at an earlier point. Just say it's like 8 to 10 weeks. Would that make you change your stance, or are you still sticking to viability?
I would probably still stick at viability because outside of the womb, there isn't the ability for the fetus to live in any kind of capacity, really, without extreme distress, pain, et cetera, et cetera, et
But
cetera.
what you said earlier was wrong. Then you don't hold consciousness as a standard. You hold viability as a standard.
No, I hold both as a standard.
She said even if the fetus had consciousness, you said I wouldn't care.
And then you have to wait. And then you have to. Let me finish.
You don't know your
own.
And you have.
If you keep talking over me, it's not gonna be able to get it to you.
And you have to weigh the bodily autonomy argument of a woman against the other rights of whatever you want to call the thing that is growing inside her.
And how does that weighing work?
That weighing works on a moral justification for various different things, and that's how we came up to the viability standard. I am just giving you the same argument that I've already given you.
Earlier in this debate, you said they cannot have abortions at 20 to 39 weeks, right?
I believe I said they can. They probably, legally speaking, they cannot do that unless there is a.
I'm just asking morally.
Morally, they can then. Because if you're going to I do not follow hard and fast rules on these kind of things, because there's always going to be some sort of issue. There's going to be always somebody that falls outside of the range of whatever hard and fast rule that we're going to try to establish. Whether
I'm glad
that is a
morally
person,
you can give your child breathing problems, heart problems, brain problems, temperature control problems, digestive system problems, blood problems, metabolism problems, immune system problems, cerebral palsy, trouble learning, vision problems, hearing problems, dental problems,
for
and behavior.
Are
doing
you
what?
just like listing a bunch of problems? That, like,
I'm
what the
listing a
fuck
bunch
does
of
that have
things
to
that
do with
you just
anything?
agreed to.
That we
I'm
agreed
listing
to?
things that you just agreed to was
What?
morally okay.
What are you talking about? I don't even
I
understand.
didn't agree
If
to any
you
of that. I
agree,
don't
if you
understand what
agree
you're
that
talking
you
about.
can have an abortion
Oh my
at the
God.
20 to 39 week period, you are agreeing that it's okay to give your fetus all the things I just listed.
No. Wait,
No,
I don't.
then
No,
it's
you're
fine.
okay. You're
talking
skipping.
about?
No, you're skipping a step here, and I think that's where the confusion's
that-
coming from. You're
yeah.
saying that we must agree the things that you just rattled off because we say that we have a viability standard, right? So where are you getting that from? Why do you say we have to agree to that? Because we're not hearing what you're talking about.
You said that, oh, we have to weigh the mother's bodily autonomy against the fetus's rights or whatever. And I asked you during this 20 to 39 week period, would you have any sort of problem morally with allowing it? And you said no. And these are all the things that can happen.
I said no, because there are some instances where the child, the fetus, whatever you want to call it at that point, is no longer viable for whatever reason. They are not going to be able to live outside of the womb because they suddenly didn't develop, like they had some weird congenital defect that caused their hearts and lungs not to grow properly. There's all sorts of manner of different things that we can say that happen that will allow, even probably under your moral framework, abortion to be moral. Because
So
those are things are still abortions.
The fetus develops like enough to survive outside the womb without health complications.
It doesn't matter because those health complications can that doesn't matter because these things can be discovered later on.
Right. So
there are plenty of let's get this
complications at the 20 to 37 week period because the baby isn't developed enough to properly function outside the womb. And I think if you've been holding the baby for 20 weeks without ever choosing, oh, maybe I want to get rid of this baby, then
but you're making a completely different argument. So what you're trying to separate. This is where the problem with these debates always roll. All right, you're trying to separate what you consider to be a permissible abortion, which is an abortion to save the life of the mother, or maybe you don't even care about that. I don't know, but this is generally where it goes. Save the life of the mother. The fetus is no longer viable. There's some sort of congenital defect that's discovered late in pregnancy that's going to, if the fetus is born, going to like die 5 minutes after birth, and it's going to be painful and all this stuff. That is still an abortion. Okay, because the procedure is the same. And then if you're trying to talk about elective abortions, well, we're going to talk about elective abortions, but because there are still medically and legally the same procedure, then we cannot say for certain that we can eliminate the ability for a mother to have an abortion at any point of the time throughout their pregnancy.
First thing, I just want to get a concession that it's okay to give your fetus these horrible birth defects. Getting
why would that be a concession? Do you think that we can just rip?
That's very ridiculous. Okay, so I asked the question earlier, and I feel like.
So are you saying that it's okay to give your fetus?
No, we're just gonna keep talking. Okay, whatever. I just feel it's ridiculous what your line of questioning is asking. I want to go back to like, why do you think that having an abortion just across the board is bad?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Julian. We haven't gotten a clear or coherent answer to any of our questions.
Yeah, and we've answered a lot of your questions. You can't answer mine? We asked one question.
Just in the middle of a question. You can just hold on a bit. But so
well, hang on. It is fair. So I did tell Nina I'll make sure she gets to ask that question because I do think it's fair. It's been a little bit. Let's give her a chance to ask her own questions and. Yeah.
Okay, can I just make it clear to the audience watching that the original question on the table that I asked.
Okay, so you're not going to answer my question.
Sorry, Zen. Am I able to wrap this up?
Yeah. Okay. Make your final point on that note, and then Nina, you'll get to ask your question next.
Okay. So I just wanted to make it clear that the original question I put on the table in the first 5 minutes of the debate was, what's the morally relevant difference between your internal resources that you use to take care of a child versus your external resources? In one situation, it's okay to kill it, and when it's not. So I just tried to find out the morally relevant difference, I guess. Didn't get an answer to that or to any of this. So So I just take that as a concession. We can go ahead and continue.
There's a distinction. The distinction is the fact that it is subsisting off of your own body, and your own body has autonomy. You have autonomy over your own body.
Pretty
If
much
you
just
don't like the,
That wasn't
if you
your
don't
we're
like
gonna have
the
to come
body
back. Hang on,
autonomy
hang on,
argument, that's
guys.
fine. But
Restated it. You
don't
restated it.
Let's
Ask
come
what
No.
back
are
to
the
this.
relevant
Let's come
difference.
back to this in a
Oh my
second.
God.
Settle down, Nina. Go ahead and ask your
Yes.
question
Oh,
because I do think it's pertinent. Go ahead.
I feel like we're getting a little bit into the weeds in these I don't know, technicalities or something, but or like too much into the philosophy, I suppose, which is always a fun argument to have. But I think, and we're talking about the real world, very simple question, complicated answers, of course. What is the problem with being pro-choice? As in,
Sorry.
abortions are legal to have. Why do you think that's a problem?
Just haven't heard a good argument for it.
The
Would you like to
problem,
start
we
one?
gave you our stance. We
Okay,
gave you that.
well, then what
depriving
argument do
the
you
fetus of a
have
future
that
like
they're
ours-
bad?
Well, do you have any critique of the future like ours argument we gave in the beginning?
Do you-
Actually, Cypher said this claim that
I don't care
everyone
about that
deserves to have a
argument.
future.
I want you to tell me why you think it's bad. I think that people
Wait,
have the right to
Julian.
choose. You can have your own moral argument about it. Like internally, a lot of people like think, that they do have that like stance
You don't
that
care
you're
about
saying.
our argument.
I
This
don't.
is our argument. Our argument is future.
Yeah, I
like
don't
ours.
care. I'm asking you the question. Why is it bad? Why? I assume your stance is that
It's
you
bad
want it.
because they have a future like ours. That's why it's bad. This is the argument. And
when
Cypher made
does
this ridiculous
okay
claim that
okay
everyone is-
Nina, go ahead. I will clock. I will address some of these philosophical arguments later, but I think Nina should get her say, and I think that this is important too because there is a argument for legal abortion versus moral or immoral abortion. Okay.
Yeah, just want to focus on the title too. It says ethics of abortion, so I assume that we're just talking about the morality of abortion. I'm silent on.
Well, no,
includes
morality of
ethics.
abortion.
No, okay. So what? Okay, well, maybe we're on. Maybe this is what our problem is of not seeing eye to eye, and why I don't understand like some of your guys' arguments is because when we're talking about ethics of abortion, I think of like the legal ramifications of abortion, like being legal or not legal, and to me, I see significantly more damage. I live in Texas, right, and I don't think somebody should be like jailed or like have to face like the death penalty because they have an abortion, because that opens up an insanely bad system where people are forced to have to like basically almost die because their fetus might be dead in their body, and then the doctors are not going to take it out because they're worried about the legal ramifications of things like that. So we're talking about ethics. That's what I think that we're talking about when it comes to the ethics of this, like the actual legal like consequences for something like abortion being illegal, because the procedure, like Clack had said earlier about like C-sections, that could be considered an abortion. So what, we just like don't do C-sections like because they're gonna be worried about like that being considered an abortion? Like that is the thing that I think in the material world is important to talk about.
Nina, what are ethics?
What are ethics?
Yeah, what are ethics?
It depends on what we're talking about. You want just like the exact definition? I'm not sure what the exact definition is.
No.
Let me look it up
what
for
you're
you.
talking about then.
So
I mean, ethics is going to be different depending on the subject, of course. Like,
yeah.
it's very silly for you to say that just ethics means the same thing for
What do you take ethics to be?
Well, I mean, generally, we're talking about the good or bad of things, right? Like, which one's
Good
better?
or bad? Good or you think everything that's bad we have to make legally?
Moral principles
and
to govern a
permissible? Like, do you
person's
think if I say,
behavior? Yeah, literally.
Stealing
in
is
the
wrong.
Huh?
Do you think if I say being mean is wrong, I have to make that legally impermissible too? If I
Is that what I'm saying?
Being mean is wrong, do I have to make that legally impermissible?
I mean, we
that's
can't.
not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the question: is abortion right or wrong?
We can't
we're not talking about any legal systems we're going to be imposing.
Okay,
No,
so
you
I'm
can't.
fine
You
with
can't.
that.
You
We
can't
can have that
separate the
argument
two.
though. But like, I'm fine with that. Is it right or wrong? Sure, same argument. My statement still stands on what I said. Is it abortion right or wrong?
Yeah, so when
That's
you
a moral
asked us, sorry if I'm tracking this conversation, are you still trying to find an answer to why we aren't pro-choice, why we think abortion's wrong? I'm confused. What like
Yeah,
why do you
that.
not whether you think abortion is wrong per se, but whether or not having it legally permissible is ethical?
Oh, I didn't know that we were here to have a legality debate about
You have to
About the
have, you can't
ethics
talk
of-
about abortion.
Okay.
You can't talk about the philosophy of abortion without talking about the legal
That's not
stance of it.
true. That's
Because
the first person to say that. That's not true.
no,
Okay, then we're just
because
talking about philosophy here, and it's pointless, like kind of a
Wait,
conversation.
sorry, by pointless.
Well,
wait,
okay,
sorry.
hang on,
The
hang
way
on.
that you
Let me-
vote. Okay.
Hang
go
on,
ahead.
real quick. So you guys are kind of hitting a wall here. Glock and Clack want to talk about the morality first, and Cypher and Nina want to implement legality into their argument. And I do think legality is pertinent to ethics debates, but I also understand why somebody might say that you have to establish some moral system first to inform the legal system.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that legality is completely irrelevant to this debate. So you guys have to find a way to meet common ground here. Go ahead, Cypher.
yeah. So Glock had already said that all things equal, killing is wrong, right? But but also said that there are instances where killing is morally justified, right, Glock?
Correct.
Okay. So why doesn't that apply to abortion?
Well, sorry, I haven't been given the justification or any external considerations as to why it's morally permissible then to kill the fetus.
I'm sorry.
That burden's not. They don't hold the view that there's some external considerations such that it's okay to kill the fetus. That's your burden.
Why
That's
not?
your burden.
No.
Well,
When,
we know how
it's
prima facie
no.
Present it. What do
You
you
guys
mean?
you guys are the pro argument, so you have to make the pro argument
Right.
side of this. So
Right.
you have to tell me why it is unethical to have abortion be legal in the
Cypher,
sense
do you know what prima
because.
facie means?
Are you
Tell me. I want to know what you think.
Prima facie is just going to refer to on the surface. So all Glock and I are saying is on the surface, abortion seems morally wrong. And
You can't have it on the. Yeah, I don't care about the prima facie. Then the prima facie argument is useless because everything operates in gray. Because there's always going to be some external
It's just a
external
misunderstanding.
factor.
Yeah, like a baby
No,
brain
it's
argument
a-
here.
it
Like,
is-
It is bad.
I mean, no, it's not a misunderstanding. We got to argue about what is going to be actually useful for the audience and useful for this debate. Prima facie, yeah, killing is wrong, but except in the sense of self-defense, but except in the act of defending your property, but except this and except that. Then the prima facie argument is completely bollocks, and nobody wants to have that debate.
I really don't know how
If it's so bad, just give us a reason that defeats the prima facie justification. Should be pretty easy for you.
What?
The prima facie, because
Give
we
something that
operate
defeats
in.
the prima facie
We
We
are trying to do that.
already
We're trying to
talked
get into
about
the details here. Like, what
Okay, give me the reason.
Because there's instances where it's not.
Yes.
So by instances, like that's what I assume this conversation's about. Like, can you go ahead and list the
I gave some.
considerations?
Yeah, like if
I
the
gave
mother's
some
gonna
already.
die.
Well, no, sorry, no. I'm asking I'm asking why it's okay to get an abortion. Like, if we have prima facie justification for why it's wrong, and then you're saying that there's external considerations such that it's okay to kill the fetus. What are those?
And you're not gonna accept
Yeah.
what I said?
What are the
Yeah,
external
if-
considerations
yeah,
why
if
it's
you're
okay
talking
to
If
kill the
Sheena.
fetus?
she's gonna die.
So you're pro-life with the exception of the mother's life? No, you're not. So rethink
not
I'm
the
sorry,
life
what?
vision.
We're not, neither one of us are pro-life.
You're
You're
not
the pro-life people. What are you
You're just
talking about?
not-
Are
yeah.
you like
You're
not
not
even understanding
acting
like
like
the
you're
position
just
you have?
saying-
Only,
Sorry, you're not
you're saying the only exception to the
I don't know
prima
why we're
facie
laughing.
justification is death. Then you're
That's
with us.
funny.
Like, you agree with us.
What?
It's a 3v1 now. Like,
Oh my god.
So,
I don't
I'm
even
asking-
know what level you're at here. Like,
Yeah, so you're
I'm asking
saying-
you a very simple question, and you keep like doing
An
these
answer.
weird like whatever thing.
An
I'm saying
answer.
like, why is abortion bad, motherfuckers? Can you please just
An
answer
answer.
that?
Answered. Wait, so I don't know how you're spring. It's been answered. The question's been answered multiple times.
Okay, well, then the question's
right?
been answered multiple
So-
times on our end too. So
So
like we're just going in circles.
Maybe that's an error. Maybe that's like a self-error issue. I'm not sure, but we can
Mhm.
restate it for the third time, and then past that, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you or your partner can give us the external considerations to why it's okay or permissible to kill the fetus. Does that work?
I mean, I thought we already did, but go
Okay.
ahead.
So all I heard was that a consideration is that, oh, it's using your internal resources. And when I asked what the morally relevant difference is between your internal versus external resources, because Nina agreed that a parental obligation enacts at some point in which you would have to use your external resources. I didn't
Do
get
you
an answer to what's the
do
morally
you
relevant
agree that there's a difference between an external resource and an internal resource?
descriptive difference. Can you give me a morally relevant difference?
I mean, is cancer? Do I have to keep a
I
cancer
mean,
cell
one's a
growing
choice.
in my
and
body?
one's
Uh,
a choice and one's
does the cancer cell have a future
Not.
like ours?
It could.
A cancer cell could have a future like ours.
No, I'm trolling you, dude. I'm fucking
Yeah,
I'm fucking with you.
Okay.
Do
So
you, wait. Do
when
you,
I guess my issue is when I ask what's the morally relevant difference, I'm just answered with, oh, it's different. One's internal, one's external. Okay, great. I'm asking what's the morally relevant
which one?
difference.
One's a choice and one's not.
Maybe if
One's
I
a
could finish my
choice to
question,
being
you
a
would track
parent. If
the
you're talking
question.
about being an adoptive parent, you're both parents, right? Whether you're not biological or whatever. Like, one's a choice and one is not. So internally, you don't have a choice. Like, I think that, you know, you should know this
The
at least.
hypothetical I
Like, if you
stipulated-
you don't have a
Yeah,
choice to like not like in terms of like your physical body, like just
Yeah,
like
because you can't transfer. We've went through this. So instead
No,
of
I'm
talking to you, I'll just talk to
so you
no,
just-
instead of talking to you,
Oh
I'll
my
just talk
God.
to the audience. Yeah, we already went through
Okay,
this.
okay,
So
well,
your
we're talking
point
to
is
me,
that-
so I really would
your
hope you would
point
be
is that-
talking to me.
Yeah, well, you're not tracking, and I think the audience
When
is.
we're
So
talking about internal resources, we're talking about your body.
So
You don't have an
yeah.
option to do that. It's
yeah, so what she's saying is
obligatory.
that.
Oh my
look,
God, no,
Karen,
you're
so
talking to me.
What she's saying
Please?
is that
Okay,
you
you're gonna
cannot
just say what you
transfer-
say. Okay,
Sorry,
love
what
that.
she's saying. Yeah, I'll just.
Uh-huh.
I'll
All
repeat
right,
what
all right.
she's
This is way too much fucking woman prattle.
Wait,
One at
sorry,
a time.
then,
She's
one
trying
one
to
at a
talk to her
time.
chat. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to
Okay,
talk to you.
It's not
okay.
shocking. I'm
That's
reading with
fair.
that.
That's fair. Yeah, let's try to keep it, you
Seems
know,
a little rude, to
conversation,
be
a
honest.
dialogue with each other, not with the audience, and let you know. So, try. Okay, Nina, go ahead. Go ahead with what you were gonna say.
Yeah, well, we're talking about internal resources. It's like not a choice. External resources, there are obviously more of them. And obviously, it's not just something that you can just like, external resources are something that can be transferred to somebody else, like you're saying with the transfer thing. You don't have the option to do that when we're talking about internal resources.
Okay, so maybe I can just
Unless
give
we're
you a
seahorses.
refresher. Okay, maybe I can also talk without being interrupted. So I'll give you a refresher of a hypothetical I asked you about 40 minutes ago. So in the hypothetical that I stipulated, because I know you're ready to talk, hold on. In the hypothetical that I stipulated, you weren't able to transfer the obligation. There was nobody around. You cannot transfer the obligation, and you didn't want to be a parent anymore. And you agreed
So you
that you
asked
still
a question
have,
about internal
No,
and
I know,
external.
wait.
You're just pivoting.
Okay.
You're literally just pivoting right
Right,
now.
pivoting. You don't know what pivoting is. And you're not tracking the
You're just
conversation.
talking about
and
something
I'm getting
completely different.
frustrated.
Yes,
You're
I
talking
am
to a
cracking the
wall.
conversation. You're just
You're a
being
wall. I'm
patronizing
talking to
and
a
weird
wall.
about
Wait,
this.
if you're tracking the conversation, tell us
Oh,
about it.
guys, we cannot keep up
Okay,
this woman
I'm
prattle.
getting
with
interrupted
the
in my
constant interrupting.
sentences. Wait,
I understand. I understand. Both sides are doing it. We really got to keep this
I
under
mean, I'm
control.
trying to keep it on.
Hang on, Nina. Hang on, Nina.
Sure.
I've been going to you and giving you the opportunity.
Sure.
I'm going to give Glock now the opportunity. Continue with your hypothetical.
Okay.
Nina, please don't interrupt until the end. Cypher, if you want to jump in and answer, you can. But guys, try not to interrupt so much.
I'll write it down.
So if the view is that the morally relevant difference between your internal resources versus external resources are that when it's externally, you know, the fetus is outside the womb, you can transfer the obligation, right? The only option isn't just to kill it if you don't want to opt into this obligation, right? And so I stipulated a hypothetical with a born child where there's no more internal resources needed, right? And I stipulated the hypothetical such that a mother and her infant are in a cabin in the woods and there's no society around them, okay? And the mother doesn't want to be a parent anymore. She wants to opt out of this parental obligation, but there's nobody around to transfer the obligation to. Nina conceded 40 minutes ago that you cannot just sit there and let the infant die. You can't walk out. You can't kick the infant outside on the porch and let it die. You have some moral duty to take care of it, even if you can't transfer the obligation. So then it follows that that's obviously a contradiction to her view.
No,
Do you agree?
because
Do
no,
you understand?
You literally just conceded that in your statement right there that internal resources are different than external. So that was my entire point.
Did you hear anything I just said and then responded with that?
I literally wrote it down.
Yeah, they're saying there's some descriptive difference, not any prescriptive difference. Like I
The
don't
prescriptive
know.
difference requires there to be body autonomy, and you have to acknowledge that body autonomy has a factor in this. And if you don't want to accept that as the answer for this, for the difference of the difference between internal and external resources, then this entire line of questioning is useless because you're not accepting our argument as being a key difference.
Julian, just want to make it clear that was a whole contradiction, by the way. So if the morally relevant difference has to do with transferring obligation, and you stipulate a hypothetical in which you can't transfer the obligation, and they say you still have some moral duty, that's a contradiction. And there hasn't been
It's
a revision.
not a contradiction because
Sorry, how is that not a contradiction?
Because the difference is that we already talked about, which was the other thing of personhood. After the child is born, the fetus is born, they have a personhood, and then it becomes everyone's responsibility in order to care for that child and assume the child has some ability to live. And it doesn't make it's not a future like ours argument. It's a consciousness argument. It is a personhood argument.
So we're making a revision. It's not bodily. So bodily autonomy doesn't
bodily
matter.
Autonomy takes into account, but also personhood. They're both matter.
Okay.
They're not contradictions.
Okay. So, So what's so it sounds just like you're making a revision to your stance. It sounds like it was bodily autonomy, but you consider consciousness, and now it's like, oh, if the fetus.
I consider consciousness. I always consider consciousness.
You said earlier in this debate,
I did say earlier that the bodily autonomy matters, and the reason the bodily autonomy matters is because at 6 weeks or whatever the hell else you're talking about, there is no ability for that child to actually exist outside of the womb at all, and therefore it is subsisting off of the body of another person completely.
Oh, I have a question too. So if you have a fetus that's born in a coma, like the fetus is born comatose, it's outside of the womb, right? So the bodily autonomy thing's out
define
of the way.
comatose. I want to make sure that we're going to be on the same page.
So I need to define what a coma is.
No, I know what a coma is, but are you talking about brain dead coma, or are you talking about
the
brain
fetus,
activity coma?
No, it could be just like a fetus where they're assumed to be conscious in the future.
No. I don't care about the consciousness in the future.
Making the relationship. Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry,
the fetus is born into a coma. Let's just say that we have good reason to believe that the fetus is going to be conscious within the next 3 to 5 years. Okay. But the fetus is born into a coma, right? Is it okay to kill the fetus? I'm sorry, the infant, the fetus is born. Sorry.
Well, how the fuck would you know that?
That's a great question, Nina. Cypher, do you think it's okay to kill the fetus? The infant? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I greatly apologize. I was distracted by track. I'll close it out so that doesn't happen again. Can you just repeat it? That's
no worries. I know it's pretty distracting. So you have a fetus, right? Or an infant because it was just born. It's born into a coma. We have good reason to believe that the infant will come out of this coma within 3 to 5 years. Okay, so the bodily autonomy thing's out of the way because it's not using the mother's internal resources, but it's born into a coma. Is it okay to kill it?
Okay, so it's born in a coma with brain activity. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Sorry, I don't know why brain activity is relevant.
Because that's where the conscious is.
No, they're not.
Yes, it is. That's where consciousness exists.
You think people in a coma are conscious? I don't know how we're
people. Consciousness. There is brain activity. There is the ability to perceive as far as the brain is concerned.
Okay, so all you need is to have.
It's not simple brain activity because synapses can fire, but there can still be brain.
So it doesn't make sense for the fetus to be born into a coma, but have the same brain neuronal development as a standard fetus that's not born into a coma.
If a fetus is born into a coma, and there is the ability for consciousness, not consciousness.
In the future, not at the moment.
It does no, because there is still brain synapses happening, right? So that there's a child there.
Wait, hold on. I want to be clear on the view then. So brain synapses equals consciousness.
Okay. Does a being? I know. I'm sighing because this is something that I don't feel like I should have to explain. Does a person with not a person, does a thing with a smooth brain have consciousness?
Yeah. Do you want me to answer that after you answer my question that I put on the table?
I guess we just answer your question. You can't answer
I am getting there.
Be fair.
Typically, well, it doesn't sound like a clarifying question. Typically, when I ask a question, I expect an answer, and then I'll answer your question. So the question I laid out on the table, just so we all remember, was brain synapses equals consciousness. Do you hold that view? No, that's not what I said. Question. Okay, hold on. So you said, you said that if the infant who's born into a coma has brain activity, right?
Brain activity, correct. Brain activity of the capability of having a conscious, because there is brain activity, quote unquote, inside a fetus at fucking 12 weeks, because the brain is developing, but there's no enough development present to have a consciousness. There's not the brain. There's smooth brain. They have some chemical electric activity that's going there that is brain activity, but it is not the development enough to have a consciousness, emotions, personality, feelings, etc., etc., etc. All these things are important to the argument.
Great. So I'll just go back to the hypothetical. infant is born in a coma. Okay, has the same brain activity as maybe they do when they're about like 6 to 8 weeks old. Okay, brain just starts developing or something like that. We have good reason to believe, though, that they will be conscious, have some conscious sentient experience in 3 to 5 years.
You don't know that.
Sorry, do you know what a hypothetical is?
Okay, fine. You go for it.
So the hypothetical stipulated that the infant is going to be in a coma. We have good reason to believe that they'll come out of a coma in 3 to 5 years. Is it morally permissible to kill the infant?
Sure. I'll bite the bullet.
You have it here, guys. Killing comatose infants. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we love it when you can just kill comatose infants.
Well, we do that with like a
I don't think Terry Schiavo
really
should have been forced to stay alive either. So I don't see that this is different.
I just have a question about bodily autonomy. Do you think it's more important than the right to life?
What is the right
body autonomy? You can't have the right to life without body autonomy.
Yeah.
So do you think it's
you're a slave if you don't have body autonomy?
Do you think it's more important than the right to life?
You can't have one without the other. It's not necessary.
I'm just asking you, if I had to compare these two rights, which one's is more important? The right to life, the right to bodily autonomy?
Right to bodily autonomy, because being a slave is stupid.
Okay, so is something like dueling okay, or fighting to the death, which you forego your life to maintain like absolute control over your body?
I mean, if you want to do it, sure.
Sure, okay.
I mean, it's illegal. It's illegal for whatever reason. But
you want to legalize dueling? Like, what is wrong with you?
I mean, you said that you didn't want to talk about the legal argument, so we're obviously not talking about the legal argument anymore.
Sorry.
If we're talking about morally, I think like you can duel if you want, I guess.
Wait, what's the moral? What's the moral?
My bad.
I'm sorry. Say again.
My bad. I didn't mean to say legal. Dueling is morally permissible.
Why should dueling be not morally permissible?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just seems to be the case. I just have a moral intuition against it. And I think
that's not an explanation. That's a huge cop out.
Yeah.
Sorry, you take intuition to be a cop out?
Yes, because that is not an examining of what you're talking about.
Why? We haven't answered your question. We've gone through your entire thing. Please, can we just have you answer one of our questions?
Yeah, the point is the first question that you asked was, why aren't you guys pro-choice, right?
Why is it dueling?
Oh, that's the new question.
Or yes, that was what we literally just asked.
So I believe it's wrong. I have some ethical intuition that it's wrong.
Okay, let's
but
get into it.
An unexamined moral intuition is not useful.
Real quick, I'm gonna help you guys out here because I think this is the same answer that you guys gave earlier when Nina asked, why is abortion or permitting abortion wrong? You guys just kind of said, well, it seems to be the case that it's bad or whatever. It was like I kind of understand their reaction to that. It's like, well, you're just kind of repeating the claim. It's bad because it seems to be bad. Like what is there to even debate in that regard? Like, they want to know why it's bad.
The point is we have commonly held intuitions like about suicide, murder, death.
I don't think suicide is wrong.
Have like an intuition that these things are wrong, right? In the same way, we'd have an intuition that dueling is wrong. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not that.
Hang on, real quick. I'm gonna help you. I'll help you out again, Cypher. They clearly disagree with you guys on the right. They say, well, suicide doesn't seem to be wrong. Dueling doesn't seem to be wrong. Abortion doesn't seem to be wrong. So the answer cannot be, it just seems to be the case that it's wrong. That cannot be your answer in a debate. I'm just being a neutral moderator here. You got to give something more than that in order for them to chew on.
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know if that was towards us. I don't know what things typically are gonna. I mean, what do things typically bottom out to? That's just us directly answering your question.
I just want you to extrapolate on what you're just saying. Like, no, I don't no, that it's just wrong. Like, I want you to talk about why.
Yeah, you're saying why do you think it's wrong, and I can just give you some descriptive fact. Like I don't know what you want me to give you other than
what in your opinion, you as a human being person that I'm speaking to right now, why do you think something like suicide is always wrong?
So I don't know what the question is targeting. Without us just restating that we think it's wrong, the only thing lying under that is
you're not saying why.
Yeah, what's your moral axiom? That's what the whole thing is about. Prima facie.
Yeah, I want to know what your values are. Like, why is it wrong to you? Sure. Do you think that people shouldn't be able to do assisted suicide if they're terminal?
That's probably going to be some
No
I don't
one
know
said
the
that,
Julian
right?
rules on that, but I
That's
don't
But
know.
why
I
I'm
just
asking you.
wanna
I'm asking you the
see
question because I want to understand your values. I'm trying to good
if your
faith to
moral
ask you
judgments
your
don't bottom out
opinion.
at intuitions. What do they bottom out to? That's where
Well,
I'm.
let's figure it out. I'm trying to ask you right
Yeah.
now. Like, can you
Let's
please
just
answer
we're
my
just giving you a
question?
direct answer.
Why
We're giving
do
you a
you
direct
think
answer.
that suicide is always wrong?
So again, I don't know what the question's asking,
I'm
other
asking
than
you,
we have
why do
some
you think it's
foundational
always
belief
wrong?
or we have some intuition
That's
that
why
it's
I'm
wrong.
asking you the
Like,
follow-up
Yeah.
question.
questions
So
asked.
if I'm gonna say, like, I'm going to give you an example. So do you think, I mean, like, it's like taking like a political comments test. I'm going to ask you a question and I would like you to respond so we can figure this out. Because I don't know you that well. Like, I want to get to know you and your positions, okay? So why do you think that suicide is wrong? And the question I'm going to ask you to maybe like get further into that, because I know it's kind of a nebulous question in some ways, is that do you think that if somebody is terminally ill, that they should be able to have an assisted suicide so they have a dignified death?
Okay,
What?
so you asked two questions in that. Which one do you want us to answer?
No, it was
And then we can
it
get
was
back to
just
the
the
abortion
last one.
conversation.
Do you think that
Okay,
people should be
I'll
able
just
to
answer
do
the first
assisted
one.
suicide to have a dignified death if they're terminally ill?
Yeah, we can answer the assisted suicide next, but I just want to say in epistemology, there are three
Can you
main
please, for
beliefs
the love
about the
of God, answer the
foundation
question?
of our morality.
Just
There's foundationalism, informatism, and coherentism.
Okay,
One's going to claim your moral beliefs are justified by an infinite chain of justification.
it
The
really
next one's
makes it
going to
seem like
claim
you're
your moral beliefs
dodging.
have to cohere with each other. And the third option is going to claim
Uh-huh.
that it boils down to this. It has a pyramid
Uh-huh.
structure.
Uh-huh.
And at the very bottom, it's just going to be justified by intuitions.
Okay, but can
And we
you
take
tell
foundationalism
me, as a human being talking to me right now, can you please answer the question? Do you think that if somebody is terminally ill and they want to have assisted suicide that's going to be dignified, where like their entire family is going to be around them, they're not going to be suffering, and they just get to pass gently, do you think that they should be allowed to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
What's the follow-up question?
Can I get the response from your partner?
I mean, yeah, like imagine if someone was going to suffer like for the rest of their
Right.
life. Should they be able to commit suicide?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't seem like they have a future like ours, so sure.
Okay. So you then would agree that suicide is not inherently a bad thing.
I don't know what's meant by
You
inherently
never made
there.
that claim.
I don't think we made that claim, yeah.
Okay, so you think that morally, then suicide is neutral because it can be. I assume that you would also agree that if somebody is like, has, like, is, lost a bunch of money and then they kill themselves, that's probably a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
To commit suicide in that way.
I mean, like, what do you mean by neutral? If like there's like a 97% chance war is going to be wrong and a 3% chance it's justified, are you going to say, oh, that's just a neutral? War is just a neutral thing. I just don't know what you mean by neutral here, because it seems in most cases it's wrong.
The action itself isn't
No
either
one's making
good or
like a
bad.
categorical claim.
You absolutely
No,
were
you
saying
did
that
make a
suicide was
prima
bad. You said
facie
it
argument.
very directly that you guys said that suicide was
Do you
bad.
think prima facie justification means it's okay in all cases?
No, you said
Like
in this
simpliciter?
conversation that suicide was bad. So you cannot
it's
now.
just a mix up in language. We're not. It's just a
Yes,
mix up in
that's what the
language.
point of like this conversation is. If we're just gonna like go in this whole
The point of this
rhetorical argument,
conversation is a mix
you
up of
said
language?
that suicide was bad.
Yeah, I said there's prima facie justification to believe suicide
No,
is bad.
you know,
If we're giving
you
like
didn't say prima facie.
overruling
You
reasons,
just
like
literally
someone
said
suffering for the
it.
rest of their life, it's going to overrule the prima facie justification.
Okay, is there a point to the, like, I don't mind the line of questioning.
I'm
it's
trying
just,
to understand
there's a
what your
follow-up
positions
point,
are.
like,
So you're just gonna like kind of weasel your way out of like saying anything generally. I mean, I appreciate you going into that, but like, okay, so why do you think that abortion is bad and not more of a neutral thing? Because I think that we understand that most times abortion's probably not great, right? Like it's not like for funsies. But like we're talking like a moral value with this. Like there is a lot of justified reasons to have an abortion, considering like if your fetus is dead inside you or the mother's gonna die. Like we're on the same page with this, right? I don't understand how you can possibly say that abortion is bad in every situation unless I am misinterpreting what you guys were saying.
The misinterpretation. We didn't say that it's bad in every case.
So then it should be legal.
Sorry, I don't know how that follows.
if it's not bad in every single case. So what is the rule what is the rule, utilitarian rule to make it illegal to have an abortion if we acknowledge that there's instances where it can be morally justified?
Wait, can I just point out how dumb what you just said was? So if killing is not wrong in every single case, it follows we should just make all killing legal.
No, obviously that's not at all what we're saying.
That's why Clack. That's why I separated killing from murder, because these things matter. Abortion, it is the same procedure to vacate a dead fetus inside a woman is the same procedure. It's the same abortion to do it for a live procedure. This is why these things are irrelevant.
Making the distinction between killing and murder is just going to be analytically wrong, because all it means is the unjust killing.
Glock made that distinction. That's what we had a debate in the very beginning of this damn discussion.
Right.
You're not saying anything meaningful if you're saying murder is wrong. It's just analytically true. What's the point of bringing that up?
That's just appeal to intuition again. Like, no.
Appeal to
intuition. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's wrong because it's wrong.
No, I mean, we don't have to get into that whole debate. It's going to take up too much time. Yeah, but just to answer Nina's question as clearly as possible, like if this isn't clear. So Julie and I have been defending, we haven't even gone into responsibility conditions, but we've been defending the future like ours argument, which is essentially just stating that killing someone, or sorry, I don't know exactly 4 minutes off my head, but killing someone has a future like ours is prima facie morally wrong.
Okay, so so if killing someone with if you want to go into the into this weird future like ours debate, fine. So do you think that the state? No, that is your argument, right? Yeah. So let's get to it then.
Sorry,
so do you think the state? Do you think the state should be murdering people that have committed murder?
Relevance,
right?
It is. They have a future like ours.
Again, relevance is number one. Silent on the state for like the 30th time. That I'm not
to establish your positions, like we said earlier.
I don't have to make legal claims. I don't know why you think I have to make legal claims.
We're asking your opinion. We're asking your opinion.
It's real quick. It's a fair question to say, like, do you take a moral or ethical objection to the state enacting death penalty or some violence?
Can I rephrase?
It's really easy to answer this question.
Clack, let me rephrase. Please let me rephrase. Okay. So the argument is that this is a future like ours. That means you presuppose that a individual has the ability to have a future and that it is morally wrong to end that future. You're saying basically there is a moral obligation to not necessarily ensure that there's somebody has a future, but, not end it, right? Is that what that's basic argument of a future like ours is?
Are you saying a future is a potential thing?
No, we're asking you to explain what the future like ours.
Okay. Well,
can you explain what the future like?
Oh, wait, Nina. Well, let me address.
No, I'm.
So if you're saying the future is just a potential thing, you're rejecting eternalism, right?
We're not talking about internalism.
Yes,
so
we are talking because
I want you. Okay, let's. What is the future like ours argument?
Sorry, Julian. Yeah, well,
this is missing my point.
He asked a question about saying that the future is just potential. So Julian was answering the question.
No, that's missing the point. So
yeah, it's not missing the point because the future is not a potential thing through eternalism. The future exists just as much as the present.
Okay, so and a person has the right to right. So the reason I say potential is because you can't know what's going to fucking happen in 10 minutes from now. A fucking jetliner could crash into my house and I'll be dead, right? You can't ensure that someone has a future, so it's potential in that regard, right? But it exists, right? And so what you guys are saying is that because it exists, that you do have a moral obligation to not end someone's future, right?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay. So then are you also against the death penalty?
I mean, I don't see how that's relevant. I don't think murder
It's relevant because your entire axiom rests on the fact that there is a future like ours, which means that you cannot end someone's future by through any means because it's morally
it's not by any means. It's not by any means. So it's
okay. Well, then explain. Then I misunderstand your argument. Please explain what this is.
Well, I think that's why, because you keep throwing out the prima facie out the window, and I think that's why Julian was trying to explain that, there's some moral strike at first glance at this, right? This isn't including all external considerations. We've talked about this in the beginning of the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then that's why
Yeah.
we're all because it's not prima
in all
facie because
cases.
I
don't know
don't
what the
I don't
generalization
think killing is
are.
wrong. I think murder is wrong. Murder is an act of killing that is morally unjustifiable.
You're saying
It's not
nothing when
prima
you're
facie.
saying murder is wrong. It's just analytically true. You're saying
That's
wrongly
Why is it
killing someone
analytically true?
wrong. It's just analytically
Why
true.
is it analytically true?
Because it's just made true by the statements. Like a bachelor is an unmarried man. It's just made true by the statements.
But that is what you're relying on when you're talking about prima facie arguments.
Right.
What?
Prima facie. You're making the prima facie argument that killing is wrong. I don't think killing is wrong prima facie. I think murder is wrong. And the reason the murder is wrong is because it is taking the life of another individual and and stopping their personhood.
Okay, maybe there's a disagreement about one of the premises. Do you disagree that one of the reasons why killing maybe you or Nina would be wrong is because you wouldn't have a future had I not killed you?
No. It is morally
No?
wrong because it creates a society in which killing is permissible and that can have other implications.
Okay, how about
as
if
well.
I did in isolation and society was unaware of what I did?
Then that would be between you and your God.
Me and my God?
So it's
Yeah.
permissible?
Oh, it's
Sure, why
permissible
not?
to kill?
We're having fun with these arguments, sir. Why not?
Oh, okay. Now it's just permissible to kill random people if there's no society. Wonderful.
Wait,
Well,
sorry.
it was
If that's
good
what you're
doing
getting
that.
from this, that's fine. I'm actually just trolling.
Like 20 minutes ago, Nina asked us.
I mean, if you're
why
gonna
are you
be
guys-
objective about that, I would imagine like killing would probably be like
You don't
not
interrupt
good
Julian.
in
Why do you
terms
interrupt
of
me?
No, the
Wait, why did
reason
she interrupt Julian? Why did she interrupt me?
because
like
I
every
was
time I talk-
looking.
It's just misogyny.
It has
It's
nothing to
internalized
do with
misogyny.
you, my
Yeah.
dude. Like, what the fuck? Why are
I
you
was just
like now
saying that-
bitching about that me interrupting when multiple people have
All
interrupted?
right,
Like,
all right.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
the third strike. Woman prattle is going to be stopped right now. We're going to closing statements. Usually there's not a good time for this, but that was the perfect
Yikes.
time.
Okay.
Clack and Glaucoma, you guys opened first, so you're going to close last. Cypher, Nina, you guys get 5 minutes each for your closing statements, and then we're going to get on to callers and whatnot. So whichever wants to go first, go ahead. Cypher or Nina.
I'll just do one real quick. I just think that a lot of this is just avoiding the question. Seems like a lot of like, kind of like, I don't know, adjacent ad hom. Seems like you didn't really actually want to engage with the conversation. You just wanted to like kind of talk around them. You had some weird argument that you didn't want to explain what it is, and then like got pissed off when like I didn't understand what the fuck you were saying, and that kind of seems like a you problem, to be honest, where it's like you're not really making your point very clear, and I think that's your intention. I honestly think that's a very intentional process that you're doing, where you're intentionally trying to be obtuse because I can't nail you down in anything if you don't say anything. Because when I asked you questions to try and nail you down in your positions, you were very evasive on them, and you would just go into either a script or like some like weird like, oh, I don't know why you're asking me this type of thing, like, which I think is very ridiculous and very obvious that you're just trying to avoid actually having any actual positions, because I don't think that you do have positions. I think the guy wearing the Make America Great Again hat, who's never gone to any sort of anti-abortion rally any sort of even Trump rally, doesn't actually give a fuck. He's just a little clout chaser, and I think that not that I know anything about you that much either, Glaucoma, but I would imagine you probably have the same mentality where you don't actually give a fuck about anything that you say. You're just trying to be a obtuse weirdo that doesn't actually give a fuck.
Weirdo. Interesting.
All right, is that it?
Why are you still
closing
talking
statement,
during
Nina?
my fucking closing statement? What the fuck?
Is your closing statement done, Nina?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for your closer. Cypher, you've got 5 minutes on the clock whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to get into it too much, but I don't like the future like ours argument because it presupposes that everyone is guaranteed a future, or at least the potential for a future. At least is what I read and I was trying to get to. But if that is not what the case is, then maybe somebody can provide me with a better definition, better stuff than what my research was able to provide on this prior to this debate. I'm not trying to besmirch anybody's positions here, so if that's not your position, I apologize. That's just what I read into prior to this debate. Depriving one of all experiences, activities, projects, and enjoyments that would otherwise have constituted one's future. And that is why I asked the murder question by the state. So I don't think the prima facie arguments are very useful. I believe that we operate in a world of moral gray areas, which is why there are some instances where you cannot have something as a rule outlawed or as a rule be immoral. But while other things can be, because there are stuff that we can reason our way into understanding that this is always going to be bad, even if it could be good in a couple of instances. Rule utilitarianism versus consequences utilitarianism. Anyways, that's it. We can talk about this later if anybody wants to. But yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And right side, clack or glaucoma, whichever wants to go first.
I'll
got
go.
5 minutes each.
So the internal-external distinction Glock gave you, no one provided an answer. Why, if someone's like alone in the woods, take care of their child, would be any different than pregnancy? We laid out prima facie justification. It didn't seem like there was any good reason to overrule that prima facie justification. The only like valid one Nina gave was if the mother's life is in danger, and it's okay in those cases. I showed they don't really care about consciousness, which they claim to care about, because even if the fetus was conscious, if it doesn't have viability, it doesn't have rights. I mean, it's still permissible to abort them. Sorry. They conceded that giving your baby a bunch of birth defects was morally permissible, and that's a pretty big bullet to bite. It didn't seem like they knew any of the empirics on abortion. I asked them, like, what's the maternal mortality rate? They said crazy things like 30% and 15%, which is just laughable. Or any other, like, extreme risks to the mother, they weren't able to name them. I was. They had difficulty in understanding hypotheticals, a real difficulty in understanding hypotheticals. They agreed that you could kill comatose infants. They agreed to dueling. They agreed it's okay to kill another person in a complete isolation from society. Overall, they had ridiculous stance. They didn't understand foundationalism or basic epistemology. I think I said enough.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Hang on, let me reset the clock real quick, and go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hopefully I don't just like restate what Julian just said, but I wasn't really listening. I'm sorry, Julian. But yeah, a couple of things. Like Nina asked us the question, why aren't you guys pro-choice? Like, what makes you guys pro-life? And so we explained why we're pro-life. And I also explained that I just haven't heard a good pro-choice argument. Like, maybe if I heard a convincing argument, I don't know if something would change. And in this discussion, all I gathered is that if your infant is in a coma, it's okay to stab it to death. If you are in the woods and you can't transfer the obligation, it's okay to kick your infant to the curb. Literally, dueling's fine. Like all these things that Julian named. Like this is the convincing argument, right, guys? Like this is the view, the pro-choice view that we're all supposed to hold to be like super convinced by this conversation. It's not convincing. I don't think it's intuitive, but apparently intuition means nothing to the side on the left. I think there was a lack of tracking. By one, member of the team more than the other. But I think there was a lack of tracking with some terms like prima facie or, talking about intuition being like a source of, I guess, justification or a source of like foundationalism. I don't know. Julian kind of explained it. But I think that if you don't hold the view that intuitions give us some degree of justification for the beliefs that we have, then I don't really know what answer you're looking for. So when you ask us why things are wrong and we tell you it's just intuitive, I'm not sure what answer you're looking for. If that's not satisfying, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just I didn't hear a convincing argument today. And I think Julian and I at least gave motivation to be pro-life, or at least represented the pro-life movement in a great manner today. So I'm done.
All right, thank you for that. And for those of you that are not aware, here at the Crucible, we do things a little bit differently. Once the closing statements have been finished, we consider the debate to be over, at which point the moderator can interact. We're going to have call-ins. We're going to have super chat, Q&A, all that kind of stuff. I do have a couple of questions. I don't want to take up too much time. Those of you that want to call in, get in the queue now, because I can already tell it's going to fill up. And if you don't get in there early, you might not get in at all. So get in there as soon as you possibly can. I think I want to just satisfy the left side's question here. Like, so Nina, if you say why is abortion wrong, and I say I just classify that as murder, right? Is that an acceptable answer? I consider abortion to be murder.
I would appreciate that. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing my
Feedback.
Oh, is that okay? Sorry. I would appreciate you saying that. Yeah, sure.
Okay, and then presumably you also think murder is wrong. So then the question would then be, is abortion in fact murder, right? Right. So I don't know. I think now I'm not trying to like throw shade. I do want to be neutral, but I think part of why we didn't even get to that debate is because the right side kind of was just like, well, I was just intuitively wrong. And then like that opens the door for the other side to just be like, well, I just think it's intuitively right.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you even really debate that? So I don't know. And then the other thing is, Cypher, I do kind of want to go at you a little bit with Julian's hypothetical, where you essentially say that you draw the line at viability because the baby or the fetus is wholly dependent on the mother and she has no other option, except abortion up to a certain point. And then they ask you, like, what if a mother's like out in the woods? I used this hypothetical before. Like there's a home birth out in rural Montana. There's no hospital for 100 miles. She has no access to any medical care, nowhere to take the baby, but it's already been born. So it's still wholly and entirely reliant on the mother. Can the mother then kill the baby?
No. And the reason being is that we can talk about whether or not again, I come back to the consciousness argument because I feel like that's the most pertinent. But if we want to just say it, fuck it. The first breath is when we say, boom, personhood is done. And that's when it becomes immoral to abandon and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what what's alluded to in various religions throughout all of time. So,
Okay. Last question regarding the consciousness argument. This is one that I believe I'm the only one who's ever really made it, but essentially you're saying you place value on a person once it attains consciousness. At that point, it gets its right to life, its bodily autonomy, etc. Right? But prior to that, you could use it as a football, or you could use it as target practice, as Destiny likes to say, right? Like, is that what you would say, Cypher?
More or less, but
yeah. So then, okay, the question would be, would that also hold true up until the point of death? When that person dies and there's no longer consciousness in that body, can you then do whatever you want with that body?
That's a tough one. I think people have some sort of social responsibility to not do things that are socially impermissible within their society. So, for example, my dad was Catholic. He died last year. I didn't cremate him. Despite the fact that he was dead, and I think that the body is just there, it doesn't matter, whatever. And I had to come up with the money on my own because he didn't have life insurance. I didn't cremate him because I felt a moral but from social responsibility.
I'm asking from a moral or ethical perspective. Would it be wrong to, say, fondle a corpse?
It wouldn't morally. I don't know. I haven't given that one much thought, so I can't say one way or the other.
Well,
intuitively, I'll say sure, it's wrong, but like I haven't given it much thought. So
to the other side of the panel, that's permissible, I guess. But that's actually an interesting question, though. That I thought of it myself a while back, and I'm like, if you do value the conscious experience, and this thing doesn't have a conscious experience, I guess there wouldn't be anything wrong with whatever you do to that body. You know what I mean? Assuming you don't hurt another conscious being with it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes into play mostly. So intuitively, I say, no, we shouldn't do that. But I don't know if that's just because of the culture I grew up in, or that's because of some like divine being blasting that into my head or whatever. So,
right. Okay, well, that's all I have for my questions, and I'm sure there's going to be more back and forth, I'm sure, when we get to callers and Q&A, but we're going to start with our first caller. Like I said, guys, if you want to get in here, do it quick because the queue is already basically full. So get in here ASAP. First caller, Andrew BPF. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. How we doing tonight? I'm taking a little bit of executive privilege to be the first caller in line because it's my show, so fuck off.
No,
so real quick on the opposite side, I'm looking at Cypher. Cypher, I had just a quick round of questions for you. So do you believe essentially that it's a woman's right to choose under essentially any circumstances that she wants?
I believe that the viability standard was set a good precedent. So not exactly, but because of the fact that we have instances where there needs to be an abortion, then we cannot make it illegal.
Okay, right. So like there's some threshold you would cut it off or something?
Yeah. I think the viability standards was fine.
Okay, gotcha. So let me ask you a question. Pretend for a second that you lived in a fascist society that did not allow for abortions, kind of like how this one's going, right? Kind of like how this one's going.
Sure.
But they opened it up to say you can have abortions only because we've invented a brand new technology which can detect whether or not the fetus is going to become a homosexual. And if we detect that, it's completely up to you, but you can exterminate the fetus. Would you go ahead and say that that's good, that people should be allowed to do that?
Probably not.
Well, why not? I thought it was up to the mother.
Whoa,
hang on. I thought the mother could choose under any circumstances a second
Sure,
ago.
Let's let him answer. Let's let him answer. Let's let him answer.
Sure, they can, but when we're talking about stuff like this, we have to also consider the social ramifications of that. And in such a society, the permissible only a saying that you can only abort if the child is homo, or let's go the one child policy in China where they're just aborting girls because that's what they wanted to do because men were more valued. Good on China, I guess. But that has social ramifications that precipitate throughout society. So if you're saying that it is morally allowed, and not only is it morally allowed, it is morally allowed and justified and good, which is what this is implicating, to abort only gay children, then that is going to have implications for people that exist today and have consciousness themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, you could say that about any. You could say that about any abortion, right? You could say that about if people, like right now, a person could choose based on whether or not they didn't want a black baby, right?
But it is not a rule. It is not.
Do you think it's immoral to choose to have an abortion because you don't want to have a black baby? Is that moral to you?
I'm sorry, I did not. It broke up there for a second.
Do you think it's moral to choose to have an abortion because you don't want to have a black baby?
Again, this comes into social ramifications that we're talking about. And then, but this also brings up that it's only legally allowed for gay people or for childs that fetuses.
Yeah, but now I'm opening it up past that. I'm opening it up.
No. I'm saying
right this second.
Opening it past that.
Right this second. Do you agree with me that you can terminate? You realize right now you can terminate a pregnancy based on the fact you don't want to have a black baby? Is that good? Is that fine with you? You're good with that?
There is a difference here because you would
go off. I got.
Yeah, that's the thing. What it boils down to is that we cannot. Your first question implicated eugenics, right? And I personally do not believe that eugenics can ever be to be practiced on a more than individualized level and have it be morally justified because of the social implications that creates. So I had somebody in my chat ask about autism.
Why would it be worse? Why would it be worse that you killed based on something outside of a different specific? So it's like, why would it matter if you killed based on the fact it was black? You just killed it because you didn't want to beat it. Why is that a big deal?
Well,
it matters because in your first hypothetical, it was only legally permissible under that narrow circumstance. So that has moral implications for people.
We're already past that, bro. We're already past that.
Okay, whatever. If they want to abort a child, do it. I don't care.
Okay, so in the open society we have right now where everybody can get an abortion for basically any reason they want, if we invented the technology which could detect homosexuality right at the site of inception, would it be permissible in your ideal world
up until
for a parent to be able to abort it? Let me finish, okay. Nina. Let me finish. Would it be permissible for you, and I just want this on record, to eliminate the fetus specifically because you don't want to have more homosexuals in the world? Is that fine?
Up until personhood, any abortion is morally fine. And that's how it goes.
So then the answer is yes.
Sure.
Okay, got it. Thank you. You didn't have to tap dance around it. And then over on the other side of the panel, I just wanted to ask you guys a really quick question I was wondering about, which is, why would you come into an argument or debate saying I'm against abortion because it seems like it's wrong? Like that was that's your argument.
You're muted.
Mike's muted.
Sorry. I mean, for the sake of time, I was just bottoming out to the question. Like where do you think the question is going to lead to? Like, if we just go, oh, I just really like fetuses, like, right? It's just, I don't like when fetuses die. I don't like when parents don't have an obligation to their children. Like, all of that still is going to bottom out to the fact that we just have some intuition about it. Like, that's essentially what we're describing.
Yeah, but that's a super weak argument because they just say it seems like it's not the case.
So,
well, I mean,
what do you think? Sorry, what do you think that these bottom out to? Like, if I think
I literally just told you what they bottom out to. They bottom out to, no, it seems like that's not the case. And you say, no, it seems like it is.
But keep asking why. Do you have an answer for every single time I ask why?
It would be from their perspective intuitive, just like yours.
Okay, so just because they can also use intuition as a source of justification doesn't mean that it's not a source of justification.
Wait,
Yep,
Well,
it's a
why?
usage.
hang on.
Debate about
Hang
it.
on. Why does it
Wait,
seem like
if you're going to argue over this, though, you're essentially saying it's axiomatic. You're saying that it's axiomatic and it's self-obvious and that these are the first impressions of people, but they're not. And I mean, you got to bite that bullet, right? It's not the first impression of people that abortion is wrong.
Well,
No.
no one said it was. We're trying to draw things that people commonly agree upon.
Well, what do you think
like
prima facie
suicide,
means?
We
What do you
didn't
think?
say
euthanasia,
we said
death,
it's wrong to
murder.
kill someone and deprive them of a future. Like that's prima facie wrong. We didn't necessitate abortion in the first premise.
Okay, well, that's the only argument that I heard out of you. I thought your internal critique was good, but if they were better at an internal critique, they could have turned it right around on you. Anyways, that's all I had.
I just wanted to mention that this is noted as the strongest argument in the pro-choice. I mean, the pro-choice, pro-life literature.
So what if they asked you, why does it seem like it's the case? Why does it seem like it's intuitive that abortion's wrong? Couldn't they do that?
I wouldn't know what the question's asking.
Yeah, intuitions are just not inferentially justified. So
right, but that's
then you can just say anything.
Guys,
you can just say anything if that's the case. This is why it's so ridiculous.
That I actually agree with Nina here. I actually agree that if you can just say like, I just intuitively think abortion's good. Wrong.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you could say that. I don't think you know what intuition is, so you can babble the words. Unless you want to have a discussion about intuitionism, you can tell me what you think an intuition is.
Yeah, what is intuition?
Yeah,
what are
they? Let's go into that. What do you think it is?
It's an intuition? Sorry, what's an intuition?
I'm asking you.
No, we're not doing that. I asked you.
You know what an intuition is.
I can ask questions.
All right, both sides. Okay, right. hang on. Quick sidebar. Both sides define what intuition is. Nina, go first. Other side, give your definition before you critique anything.
I don't have the exact definition in front of me, of course, but what I would assume intuition is just based off of like feels before reals type of thing. I guess to be like very brief about it.
I don't have no clue what that meant. Feels before reals.
That your feelings are what you decide things off instead of reality.
Wait. What do you guys think intuition is now?
Me and Julian may define it differently, but maybe like an intellectual seeming or just reflecting on like some proposition and having some initial reaction. Like you can define it a little differently. You could just say it's a type of seeming.
You can't say that you've thought about it.
It's a mental state where something seems to be the case.
Wait,
and it's
what do you mean you can't say that you
if
thought
it's intuitive,
about
you don't think about
because
it.
Intuitive means that intuition comes from intuit, right? And intuit means you just kind of realize that it exists.
There can be any. I'm not defining intuition that way.
But that's what intuition means.
I'm sorry, guys. This is retarded. Sorry,
that's fine. We can move on.
All right, next caller, Big Haas. Welcome. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Splendid. All right, Cypher. My question is for you. I had a problem with how your like consciousness argument. It's not like I couldn't understand it. I mean, like you explained it well enough, I guess. I say I guess because I'm stupid, but like, the argument is like, did you make like the point that like it's okay to like abort fetuses, but like it's not, it's not okay to like abort like a late term abortion with like a newborn infant or a toddler or something like this?
To
like,
me,
if your argument hinges upon like a consciousness, like I don't understand why you couldn't just like abort like a 25-year-old a 24-year-old if like the brain doesn't even fully develop until like you're 25. Like,
yeah, because consciousness is physically speaking is various brain structures, and I can't list them all, so I'm sorry about that. I just don't have every single fucking thing in front of me. There's a bunch of different things, but there's synapses, there's brain development with the folds in the brain. Just because you do not have the capacity to fully understand and reason everything fully out until the age of 25 doesn't mean you don't have a consciousness, doesn't mean you don't have a personality, doesn't mean that you don't have feelings, emotions, yada yada yada, right?
All right, well, so, if it's something that we don't understand, and possibly maybe like one of these things can err to like, okay, maybe this is consciousness, why isn't it like the little flesh bud in the mother's womb, why isn't that like
there isn't the
conscious?
physical brain development that exists there that even approximates whatever what everything is that causes a personality to even develop. I can't, like I said, I can't list these off because I read it like super quick a couple of times like years ago or whatever, and that was like, oh, okay, that's why the valuability standard was created in the way that it was. Generally speaking, the brain has this level of development for the capacity for the actual things that we are talking about that I say that makes up personhood between 20 and 27 weeks. That's when it starts. So around the 24-week mark seems to be a good way to split the difference.
Just,
Did you have a follow-up there, caller?
I have trouble with it. Trouble with it.
Well, did you have a follow-up question, or is that it?
It's what grounds you're since the topic was on like the ethics of abortion, what is the ethic? Because you said like during the debate too that like ethics is like conjoined, like really strongly linked with law or something like that, but I think that's wrong because you can totally have like ethic, like a law system within the government and everything like that, but you could have like the ethics of the people or whatever else like that.
Can I ask you, shouldn't laws be ethical?
Opposite. What was that?
Shouldn't laws be ethical? Like if we're based off of like general morality, like if we're talking about like them being good, right, or good or bad or whatever, like wouldn't you want your laws to be ethical?
Yeah, laws can be ethical, sure, but I mean, like they it's not like it's like oh, should they? Maybe, yeah, they should. Yeah, they should.
Okay.
At least a little bit.
So having an argument about how legal things should be, I think, is important to have like an ethic conversation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anything else there, Big Hoss?
No, my brain's toasting up, so I guess I should go.
Can I put one thing real quick?
Yeah.
You can leave, Big Hoss. So you can get your off.
No, I'm staying. What is it, Cypher?
He's staying.
Thank you for the call, Big Hoss. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Cypher.
So just because I just recommend you reading the brain development of a fetus from week or day one all the way to birth, and then maybe that'll help you better understand where I'm coming from for it. That's it.
Okay. And next caller we got in line here is Koala. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hello. My question's for Cypher and Nina.
Okay.
So repeatedly throughout the debate, you guys, your position is just like poorly constructed. Like you guys go between viability and consciousness multiple times when establishing personhood. So I'm just wondering, like, did you guys end up deciding like midway through the debate which like position you wanted to take?
I think what happened with that is we were trying to engage with obviously the opposition, and I think he was taking a little bit of a really good faith position where he's trying to like go with what he thinks. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that we just have a philosophical difference because I've talked to Cypher before about this, and it's just like, yeah, we're a little bit different in our opinions on certain things. And I think that generally I don't think it really matters. I think that at the end of the day, the way that he was trying to portray his value was the exact same as mine. Generally, it was just maybe we were trying to understand their positions, which are, as we learned, very up in the air. So we were just trying to address their positions in like different ways. So I think that we were aligned, of course, through the entire thing. It was the way that we were trying to address the positions of our opposition. Go ahead.
So Koala, I think what the issue is that I also weigh bodily autonomy in this discussion. And when we talk about viability here and consciousness, it is almost a one-to-one measure for me. So when I say that the 24-week mark is a good standard for viability and consciousness, it is because of the brain development. I don't see these two things as being necessarily incongruent. Does that make sense?
No, because first of all, Nina, clearly you're just like indisputably wrong on that case, because if you guys were morally aligned, you guys would not have differences.
Morally aligned? No, we're not. I didn't say we're morally aligned. I said we're ideologically aligned. Yeah,
No, you guys
ideologically aligned.
You're not. You guys are not aligned.
Morally or ideologically, which one?
Ideologically, morally, either way, you guys don't
Those
align
are
at
two
all.
different
Well, hold on. Cool. Can I ask Nina? Do you agree with the viability standard?
Yeah, I think there's a reason for that. Obviously, being the
Okay.
standard, like somebody who's done the science, you know, I'm not a fucking expert, so I think it's like we're talking about like the Roe standard of viability, right?
Yeah, that's what.
I absolutely agree with you on that.
Okay. So the opposing side, they assign personhood based on like I guess if you have like potential for like a future or whatever. You guys assign it based on viability or consciousness. That's clearly the difference that there is, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's
Okay,
the
so-
primary difference between
Okay,
the two.
so you guys are not
two
aligned.
sides.
You guys aren't aligned. Like
No,
the way that you
she took
describe
that to
value.
mean that her and I aren't aligned.
Oh,
We were saying we're aligned.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
That was
I'm
the
sorry. I thought
distinction.
you meant.
That's-
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
I took it the same way,
I guess
Koala.
me
Sorry
and you,
about
Koala, are not aligned.
Okay. So to Cypher, sorry, I didn't really sorry, I kind of forgot what you
No,
said.
you're fine.
So regarding viability and consciousness, which one do you did you say they're like aligned? Do you think they're the same?
Yeah, they're essentially 1-to-1 because of brain development. Brain development starts like not right away. It happens after cells divide. Blah 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 blah. Right. I don't have the exact thing in front of me. I'm not like a student of this as much as like a person that is a doctor is and can tell you everything because that's their day job. Right.
Mhm.
So I can't go about it like that. Right. But I can tell you that generally speaking, and I say generally because there are instances where development happens differently. We know this. That's not just intuitive. We see it every fucking day, where that could be not aligned. And that's why I say it's generally 1-to-1 aligned. So at 24 weeks, you have the capacity, you have the ability for consciousness, you have consciousness, you're developed a person, you have the brain structures for personality, feelings, emotions, moral weight can be given to a degree on this. All those things exist at the 24-week mark.
Okay, yeah, so I disagree with that entirely, because it's like repeatedly, like I don't know where you substantiate that like they're like aligned in any way, because a lot of people like biologists
For me, they're aligned.
For you, so it's like
Yeah.
subjective. Where do you base that substantiation
We're
off?
talking about morals. Of
based
course
it
it's
off
all
of the-
subjective.
I based it off of the biology stuff I just listed off, which is the 24 weeks have the brain development that gives these things the possibility of happening.
Okay, so
and happening.
What do you base that off of? Like, where did you get
Research?
that? Like, what
I read it.
research? What research?
I
I'm
did a
very
ton of research.
confused right now.
I can't point you to it. I don't have a running list of everything I've ever read throughout all of time.
Okay,
Should I start keeping that?
Yes, because you go into a debate without any substantiation for your premises, and you just accept the other side to like take that. Like, I just don't. Why would you go into a debate without substantiation?
I've substantiated it. I don't.
No,
have,
not at all. Like, whenever I ask, like, why is it true? You just say, "Oh, I did my research," and I'm just supposed to believe you. Like, no.
I mean, you can go look up the brain development stuff just like anybody else.
Are you
The
asking
entire
about the
debate wasn't
science
about
or
it.
the morals? Because the debate was about, like, I guess, the morals, which I think that obviously we can use resources to, help us. But like, what is the issue that you're having here that you want like a resource on?
Okay, so the issue that I'm having is this, like, with this premise that like consciousness and that like
I actually do
consciousness
have
and
an
viability.
article for you.
Okay, if you want to send that to me, go ahead. But like the point that I'm making is that you went into this debate without substantiation for that, and it's just like it just, to me, whenever I hear that, it just gives me the idea that you're bad faith because you just don't have you don't have your values aligned and you can't substantiate it. That's what just to me
Well,
what it
Color,
seems
can
like.
I
I
ask
don't
you
know.
what are you asking for? What do you want him to do that he's
He
not
wants
doing?
a source. He wants me to list off my sources for this, and
Yes,
I don't have them.
I've done my
I
own
can't
independent
answer
research, and I can tell you exactly
Yeah.
like where these stuff begins.
Here,
Like
I'll
I would
post
say
it
like
in the chat.
consciousness begins from like 20 to
There's at
24,
least
and
one.
viability. Okay.
I'm not saying
No, then we
sources
essentially
is a
agree.
source.
20 to 24. So we don't actually disagree, Cole. I don't understand.
Okay. Well, anyways, I made my point that like you went into this like without substantiation for your premise, which is
But
bad
you
faith.
just
But
okay. That's not bad faith, though. Bad
I-
faith is
okay,
you
that's not bad faith at
misinterpreting
all.
the
All right,
side.
hang on. We do have to move on. I don't know if I would consider that bad faith, but I do
I
understand.
definitely would.
I understand the objection. Is there any last thing you want to follow up on?
Yeah.
Would you like to yell at the right side for anything?
Well, glaucoma, she was quite rude to me yesterday, but apart from that, I just have one more thing for the pro-choice side. So you apply rights based on like consciousness. So like in a hypothetical where like let's say somebody could like insert like a serum into a fetus and it would develop without consciousness, and you could harvest that body for organs and stuff like that, you like would see that as totally acceptable because it never like presumes consciousness.
I mean, we do that with dead bodies all the time.
Yeah, I'm confused. So are you saying that they developed a serum that prevents consciousness from ever existing? Clears it out? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like they create a serum so like this developing fetus never presumes consciousness, and then they like they mutilate this human life and harvest it.
I mean, at that point, it's not.
Just so
it's
you're
not a
gonna
person.
kill somebody
So,
at that point.
So you see that as like totally fine. Like you just like think you can.
Well, it's not a person. I mean, whether or not it's totally fine, we have to again. This is the problem with these debates, because I feel like nobody really tries to take into account the social ramifications for any of the things that we're talking about. They want to all make it an individualized case. If we have a social system that creates a serum, right? If we have a serum that exists and then we permissibly allow it for socialization, what does that say about living, breathing, conscious humans at the same time, right? What does that say about it? And I see Clack kind of nodding his head or something. I don't know if if I saw it out of the corner of my head. But like, I think those things need to be taken into account. Like, it's not just it has to be taken into account.
All right. Hey, I'm sorry. We do have to move on. Thank you for
All
the
good.
call in, though, Koala.
Thank you for the question.
And next one here, we got Leftist Dropout. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So I have kind of like one question, but it's kind of like a two-parter. So Cypher, earlier you said because there can be justification for abortion, we must allow all of it. But this not only like shows that there's a contradiction in your. Yeah, you actually did, because they were saying that there can be justifications for like medical stuff and removing dead fetuses. So then you said we must allow all abortions because of those things.
I didn't say that, because I have the viability argument where it becomes
No. I get what you're saying.
Moral to do it.
You're saying that like on the legal grounds, right?
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, you're saying
literally,
legally.
You did say that before in the debate.
Not like elective, just like legally, we should be able to like have. Right.
Yeah, well, there were a couple things, because you were talking about like how C-sections could be abortions. There were like other things you tried to get. I think Glock in, because they were talking about how they give like medical exceptions or something. And then you were talking about how if they give any justification for it, then we should just allow all of it. You basically said, "Oh, you're pro-choice now." If you're gonna say you didn't say that, then I can just move on to a different question I had.
No, I think I just misunderstood your question initially. So or maybe there's a misunderstanding here. So let me just restate my position, if that's permissible.
Sure. Yeah.
I believe that legally speaking, we cannot legally make all abortions disallowed, all of them, because there are instances where even the pro-life, the anti-abortion side, whatever you want to call them, it states that there is moral justification for the termination of a fetus or the vacating a dead fetus out of a woman's body. Legally speaking, both of those procedures are abortions.
Right.
So
yeah.
we can't, as a rule, make abortion illegal. Didn't say that it was.
I wasn't under the impression that either of the two pro-lifers thought that we were going to ban every single abortion ever. I don't know if that was ever their stance, but okay, that's fine. It could have just been a miscommunication. So I guess I'll just go to my viability question. You keep mentioning that viability has something to do with sentience. Now, I'm not sure if you're saying that they occur around the same time, or if you're saying that viability, like the Roe decision, was based on the fact that there is like some level of brain development there. Because if that's like your actual stance, that is completely incorrect. Viability, the reason that it's even changing so much and now it's considered like 21 weeks is because the fetus has a 50-50 chance of survival outside of the womb. It has nothing to do with sentience. I don't know why you kept saying that. And Roe was not decided on the brain development of the child. That was just kind of crazy, and I was wondering if you want to clarify that.
So the viability standard at the time that it was written did take into account these things that I listed. Whether or not you want to compete that to be the case, that's fine. But at the same time, a 50% chance of living isn't very much of a chance. It's a coin flip, right? And even with the fact that we can say it's viable 50% of the chance at the time, we have to take into account all sorts of other things. So if a fetus is delivered at 21 weeks, what is that going to happen to that fetus developmentally because of all the stuff that they have to go through in the NICU, Like,
yeah,
I
I'm not.
wouldn't-
I don't
so.
have like a. I think the viability standard is probably one of the worst pro-choice arguments ever to exist.
Sure.
So I'm not like trying to defend that stance at all. I was just saying that like you kept insinuating that like viability and sentience are at least closely linked, and that the Roe decision was based on sentience, or like somewhat
degree.
based on sentience. Yeah,
For,
and that's
for
just
Roe.
like kind of crazy to me. But yeah, the 50-50 chance of survival, that's honestly a big reason why viability is an awful argument. But then you also said that babies are not, or that humans are not persons until their first breath. I don't know if that was a troll or not. So rip every
was to
baby
get
born
off
in
the
a bathtub,
point.
I guess.
It was to get off the point. There's several religious scholarships out there of various different religions where they said that was basically the case of when the soul enters the body. Is one
That
of the
is not
things.
true, but okay.
What do you mean it's not true? That's definitely in several religions. They talk about it at length.
Yeah, like Jewish
They
people
talked
think that
about in
it starts at
Christianity. It
first
talks
breath.
about in
No,
Judaism.
they don't.
They're
They
talked
literally
about in
don't talk about
Hinduism.
it in Christianity at all. I hate when pro-choicers
No,
bring this
that's
up. It's
that's
so
a
dumb.
misreading of the.
Yeah, it literally
Oh, a
says that
misreading of the
Adam
religious
was-
text. Crazy.
Well, wait, no, it literally doesn't even
Yeah.
say that life begins at first breath. It literally just says that God created
In the
Adam
Jewish
and breathed
laws,
the
it
breath
says
of life
that-
into him.
That's not what I was talking
Well,
about.
we're
I
not
wasn't talking
But
about
Jewish.
anyways, yeah, we don't
Genesis.
have to
Keep in
go into that.
mind.
It's fine.
Keep in mind, Adam wasn't born.
Yeah, so that's just like crazy, and I feel like pro-choicers need to stop bringing that up. The last thing, can you define like sentience and consciousness, because we never got a definition. I don't even know what you mean. Like
I
a
gave a
concrete
list.
definition.
I gave a
You
list of
give a
things
list
that
that's
create.
very like
Yeah,
broad.
qualities.
It's very like, well,
Yeah,
sometimes
it is
this,
going to be
sometimes
broad.
that. Well, no, like when I say sentience, I'm normally just like referring to subjective experience. But you seem to think that there has to be like some
There
amount
has to be a
of brain
level of
activity.
brain
There
development.
has
There
to
does.
be
There has
some
to be.
like right, but they don't have to be experiencing that, right? Like they don't have to be. They don't have to actually be currently actualizing this ability, right? So it's not necessarily about currently having subjective experience or anything like that. It's just about this vague kind of having enough folds in your brain thing.
Yeah, that's literally
Okay.
where it comes into existence. I don't know why you're scoffing. I don't understand why you find this to be ridiculous.
It just seems like really weird, and I've never heard that definition of consciousness before. But that's all I have. I don't want to take too much.
Well, no,
of your time,
if you're going to talk about viability when abortion should be illegal, and if you think that abortion at a certain point should be illegal, should be considered unethical, then you have to take a stance where that is, and that's where I took my stance to. It's
I'm just like, it's
capacity.
confusing when they don't, because you said that like they don't have to be like currently experiencing anything. They just have to have like the parts necessary. It just seems pretty weird.
No, I was saying they're focusing, the glaucoma was focusing on like brain waves and brain synapses firing off. That's just electrical impulses. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is any possibility for them to have consciousness, feelings, emotions, the ability to reason, etc., etc., etc. That requires a certain level of brain development, and once that certain level of brain development exists, then there is the ability to be a person.
Yeah. Okay. So they just have to be able to possibly experience something, but they don't have to actually experience it.
I mean, can you prove that they're actually experiencing? Can you prove that I'm existing right now?
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. You can drag me out. I'm good now.
Bye,
Right, thank you for the call in. We appreciate
Bye,
it very
Glock.
much.
I love you.
Yeah, of course.
And next caller, chat, brace yourselves. This is going to be a fun one. We've got Peacecraft.
Oh, geez.
Tough retards.
No.
The in-house Crucible call-in team.
No, I find myself agreeing
today.
with the left side. It's all right. Just turn your shit down. I find myself agreeing with the left side of the screen for the first time in a long time. If we can fucking kill people
best
based on
friends.
folds of their brain, fucking Cypher and Nina would have been taken out fucking decades ago.
Real.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure that's what you're talking about.
Cypher, quick question for you, buddy. In a hypothetical,
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Shush. In a hypothetical world that's fast approaching, given technological advancement, where we have biological wombs able to take over the natal process from first cell division, do you then make abortion illegal?
There could be a moral justification to make abortion illegal at that point if you can not put the woman through some sort of extreme amount of like distress or force
Wait,
it
but that's what
upon
he's
them,
saying.
etc., etc.
Right? Or did I misunderstand the question?
Nina, same question.
Wait, is that what the question is?
With the advancement of technology, which seems to reduce the time frame needed in the mother's body, assuming that track record keeps going.
I thought you were going.
I know. If we have a biological womb that can take over from the instant the sperm hits the egg, do you then outlaw or ban abortion?
So it's not in a woman's body, so to say.
I'm saying this fish tank of bullshit can take over for the mother the instant the sperm hits the egg. Do you then ban abortion?
That's an interesting question. I would say
yes.
What is abortion in the context of what we're talking about? Like if you it's in a fish tank and we walk away and like the power goes out and it dies, like is that an abortion or like is it just like
I knew I shouldn't have asked you a question with more than 2 sentences
because I want follow-up questions. Come on,
Cypher. Over the course of this debate, you have hinged your argument on sentience. Nina, is your name Cypher? Look down on the left. It says your fucking name in case you got fucking confused.
For one day, don't be a trolling fucking asshole and just
Cypher, I don't know if I dislike you more because you're gay, Nina and Glock because they're women, Clack because he's wearing a tie, or Zen because he's short. Shut the fuck up.
100% straight.
Cypher. Over the course of this debate, you have shifted your threshold criteria several times up until first breath outside of the
That was a troll to get off the subject, dude. Come on, you fucking should understand this.
If I grant, you bit the bullet with Andrew asking you if one could abort a black baby in the current paradigm in which we inhabit, to which you said yes.
Yeah.
If so, it seems your threshold principle is greater than 24 weeks if a woman can abort a black child for any reason at any time.
No, I didn't. You keep saying any reason at any time. That's a complete misrepresentation of my argument. I expect better of you. My viability standard was 24 weeks due to the sentience example. The reason I said the troll bit about the first breath is because several religions throughout the entire fucking world have that as a thing, and I wanted to get off the subject. So if we wanted to say have that as sentience, then we could say, okay, fine, we just do it that way to get off the fucking subject.
All right, so can a woman get an abortion at 25 weeks?
A woman can get an abortion at 25 weeks under the previous Roe standard for certain reasons. And that's why we had that elite. That's why we had it legal.
26.
Illegal. I'm
going to walk you forward. I'm going to walk you forward. 26.
He's just going to give you the same answer. Like
I'm giving you the same answer. We had the viability standard because we crossed way the rights of the mother with the rights of the fetus. Okay,
all right,
or the child.
Nina,
we already
can a woman get an abortion at any time for any reason?
Not at any time.
So you would disallow late-term abortions?
If we're just talking about like for medical necessity, then sure. But I'm not saying like any time, like for any reason. Those are two different like answers.
Yeah, we're not the extreme abortion at any time.
We're not like you can like give birth to something and just like murder it. Like people like I don't think anyone would agree with that. But I think like you have to understand like
she's saying no. She's saying no. There's a cutoff.
All right, Clack and Glock. There is a condition in the human form called Harlequin. No, I'm done with.
No, he's moving on. He's moving on.
Clack and Glock. There is a condition in the human form called Harlequin ichthyosis. I have only ever found one person who has survived it, but other than that, throughout human history, a child is born inside out. They scream for 45 minutes, knowing only pain, and then die. Would you allow abortion in this case?
Yeah, I probably would allow abortion in this case. When we're making the statement that having a future like ours provides prima facie justification against killing the fetus, that fetus is not going to seem to have a future like mine. If my future just consisted of like torture for the rest of my life, then I probably wouldn't want to live either.
Nina's doing just fine, homie. So you're going to have to find a better justification.
Okay, but what if they have Down syndrome? Hang on, what if you?
Oh, I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal, Zen.
No, not you. To Clack, and I guess I don't know what Glock's position.
Oh
is.
Yeah, man, I will jerk off charts.
Which with Down syndrome or some other like severe deficiency, like you would say that's okay too because it's not a future like ours.
Down syndrome, like I don't think aborting someone with Down syndrome is okay. I think generally. We're going to consider people with Down syndrome their future to be similarly close to ours, so it's wrong to kill them.
Yeah, but that just sounds arbitrary. It's like there's going to be some point where you're like, this doesn't seem like a future like ours, and this does seem like a future like ours, but the delineation is going to be completely arbitrary.
Yeah, we could literally We could literally use the future like ours argument to justify all manner of atrocities of ethics and
what about
eugenics, etc.
Like, somebody who's, I mean, couldn't you say somebody who's born as a crack baby is not going to have a future like ours because they're going to be born addicted to crack? Could you abort a crack baby?
So when we're talking about future like ours, it's going to be a sufficient condition. So it's not a necessary condition for someone having value. It's sufficient.
Who decides that?
I don't know what that means at all.
So it just means that all we're saying is people with a future like ours have this like moral value, not that people without a future like ours don't have this moral value.
What does that mean?
It means
Still
like,
don't know what that means.
it means that like, so if you're saying, oh, someone doesn't have a future like ours, let's say, maybe if I just consider Down syndrome baby not to have a future like ours, does that mean it's okay to kill the Down syndrome baby? The answer would be no. FLO is silent on that question, since FLO is merely a sufficient condition for why it's wrong to kill someone, not a necessary condition.
So then why does that change with Harlequin? If is it ichthyosis or ichthyosis?
Well, when he described the disorder to me, it didn't seem like they had a close enough future like ours. You can even say that it doesn't meet the conditionals, but it's just prima facie justification. And the pain.
No, I've told you I've told you that there is a medically recognized survivor who went on to have a life, have children, even get married.
Have children without pain?
Correct. This person survived it.
Well, in their case, they would have a future like ours.
Right. So then simply having Harlequin ichthyosis would not then, forego their moral consideration and say they don't have a future like ours. Right.
Well, it depends on the stance. Like there can be, for example, if you're on the autism spectrum, there can be like severity of autism. I'm sure there can be severity of the disease you're mentioning. So in this particular case where someone lived, yeah, they had a future like ours. In the other cases where they probably don't live, they might have not had a future like ours, but it's going to be on a case-by-case basis.
All right. One last question for Cypher. One last question for Cypher. One, I thought your death row analogy it's first of all, it's just disanalogous. Like mainly in these moral intuitions, what we're trying to get to is the concept of innocence. I'm pretty sure you would say if I shot a pregnant woman, I would be committing double homicide. Morally, ethically, and legally, we already continue to do so. I don't believe if I shoot a pregnant woman at 23 weeks, have I not committed double homicide?
I mean, that's for violability. Legally, you would be under some states. Some states do not.
Morally or ethically, Cypher, would you charge me with double homicide?
Probably not, to be honest with you. I'm trying to be as consistent as possible, so thanks.
All right, well, very good. So, last question, Cypher. If you value sentience and capacity, do you extend this into veganism? We have
No, because I'm a speciesist. Next question.
Why did you come to that if you didn't how did you come to that if you didn't intuit it?
The reason I'm a speciesist is because the brain development of the human race required meat to get to the point that it's at that we all exist on. So there you go. It is a necessary condition for the human race as it exists to exist.
All right, fair enough. All right, Zen, boot me.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you for the call-in. Peace Craft. It was fun as always. And just to be clear, the mortality rate for Harlequin ichthyosis, anybody can look this up. It ranges from like 40 to 80%. So 80 would be extremely high, but there's still a 20% survival rate in worst case. So I don't see any way you could use that to justify abortion just because you have this condition. That's ridiculous. Just to be clear,
is it incredibly painful?
I'm sure it is, but that doesn't mean that somebody ought to die because they're in pain. Next caller here. I'm going to try to power through these. Edith Puthy, please make it quick. We're kind of running out of time. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the call.
Edith.
Hi. So I just had a question for clack and glaucoma. So I wanted to know. Dang, I forgot the question. Never mind.
Okay, you're gone then. Sorry about your luck.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Zensil Sharpen. Welcome.
What's good? How's it going? I've got questions mostly directed at you.
I don't know how that worm got in here.
No! Stop! Come on, that's not fair. They're probably going to ask questions for the right. Come on, there's not enough questions.
I don't know how a worm got into the call-in
Wait,
line.
why is Synth banned?
Synth is not going to ask questions fast.
He's a worm. Well, okay, so our policy here is no simping and no spurging.
No
Synth
synthing?
does one of those two. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's it for our callers. We're gonna go to super chats now. No, seriously. Worms and spurgs and
I don't
synths
know
are
what
not
that means, but I'll just
I
talk to you
don't really
afterwards.
get either.
Yeah. So first super chat, we're gonna start with the donos here. No, Evelyn for $15 says Nina and Cypher need to learn how to clarify their stances, define their terms, and justify their positions. It's insane, and they're floundering so bad. You guys
we
wanna
need to
respond to
clarify
that?
our stances.
I don't know when
Adorable.
that super chat donation
It
came
was
in.
early
or
on. It was over an hour ago.
Okay, well then I would assume that by the time we got this question asked, that they had been sufficiently explained.
I agree.
Next one here on Dono Chat, Strauss1414 says CDC stat 1 in 5 babies were aborted in 2020. Dying in Russian roulette is 1 in 6. How do the lefties feel about the fact that the policies they advocate for are holding a 5-round revolver to every pregnant woman in America's belly?
I don't consider fetuses to be persons, and that's my stance, so it doesn't matter.
Nina, do you have a response?
Yeah, I mean, they're not people. They're just clumps of cells and shit. Like, it's silly to me.
Okay, so, yeah. Next one here. This one's not really related to the debate, but Strauss1414 says, Crucible team, get your devs to use HTML's text area max length to attribute to Dono Chat. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He wants us to extend out the max characters on,
all right, Clack, that's on you.
on Dono Chat. We'll work on it, but don't tell us how to run our fucking site. So, but thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. We read them all, so yeah, we're gonna read that one. Next one here, we're gonna go to the YouTube super chats. Chandler for $5 says, "W Glock, W being pretty pro-life gang. We only tolerate simping if you pay for it." So thank you for the super chat.
Love you, Chandler.
Risky Dave, $10 says absolutely nothing. Neon War, 10 pounds says absolutely nothing. And
Nice.
Evan 513, $10 says absolutely nothing. Our favorite kinds of super chats. Thank you guys so much for those.
Just like an
10 pounds,
unborn
like $14.
Chandler for $2 says no crumbs left for Glock to eat. Goddamn. Okay. Again, you can simp if you pay for it, but otherwise you get fucking banned. Okay. Sumeria Anna for £2 says kudos in for this outstanding pairing. Good fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was. I said this in chat. I've never had to interject to moderate a debate more than I did tonight. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Not involved. Nice to hear you.
Well, there was a lot of moments where moderation was necessary. That's all. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Mm-hmm. Elijah Borges, I don't know. For $20 in Monopoly money says, why can mothers choose for the father that he must commit to a family he does not want? If you claim to be pro-choice, men must have their choice to be free of responsibility within the same time frame abortions are permitted.
I believe that there can be a moral justification even on a social level for the ability to financially, quote unquote, abort a child, but we need a better system in place for that, which requires more socialism, which you probably don't agree with. So there you go.
I absolutely agree with that. I've actually had that conversation. I assume that's obviously to the left of here, and I agree with the same thing. I do think that it's unfair in a lot of ways, but I think that just the way that the structure is based off right now is unfortunate, but we could absolutely fix it with more socialism. Socialized programs.
And next one here, we got Slevin Kalevra for $2 says, you can win the lottery 133 million times to being born once. I think that's toward the left side.
I don't understand.
Okay.
He's saying that you have a better, I guess, if you have the the billion-year-old
universe, I get it. I don't know how to respond to
that. I wouldn't either, to be honest.
Yes and.
Yeah.
Okay. Slevin Kalevra for $5 says, imagine winning a timed race of 250 million participants. getting to the finish, then instead of a reward, you're ripped apart because girl boss.
Dude, that happens
That's
all
a
the
good one.
time. Like even
That's
like
the
in
point.
reality, that happens all the time. You
Yeah,
understand how the
that's
world
the super
works?
chatter's point, Nina. That's the point of the super chat.
Well, no, I think they're trying to make a metaphor with like their sperm like hitting the egg or whatever, and then like just taking an L. Like, yeah, we all take L's. Like, get over it.
Yeah, this
because girl boss, right? Girl boss.
This proposes that a fetus has a right to exist. So
The rights
argument.
conversation is interesting. We don't have time to go into it right now, but Cypher, I think I would like to, and I think people in the chat would also like to see you back debating something along those lines.
Appreciate
it. Christopher Shame becomes a channel member. Thank you so much for that. Reminder, that's the best way to support us, guys. Become a channel member. You get all the members only emojis. You get to throw tomato soup cans, like I said. You get there's a ton of members only content on the channel now. I think it's more on the other channel, but we're gonna get it over to this channel, because we had the strikes and all that. We're just coming off of that. But become a channel member, gift those memberships if you're already a channel member. That's the best way to support us and keep the channel going. It's been a lot of work to keep it up through all this, but it's only possible because you guys support us so much. So thank you for that. Wicked Wally for $5. If everyone on this panel were oranges, this show would be called the Juiceable. Ban that fucker. Ban that fucker right now. He's not allowed in our fucking chat anymore. Ban this fucking asshole. Where's he at? I'll take care of it. I think only I can do it because he's a mod, but we need to ban this fucker. He's never allowed to chat or super chat again.
Ban him from my chat.
Ever. Terrible. PK for $15, I think, in Australian. Personhood begins at conception, as each embryo has potential to become a conscious being. The term person is metaphysical, not tied solely to physical brain functions. Hope y'all think about it.
Is a child an adult because they have the potential of being an adult?
I don't know, Nina. You can't ask
I'm
a super
asking
chatter.
Okay, I was sorry.
Okay, well, they're not going to answer it because it's a super chat.
Well, maybe they'll donate more to answer it.
Yeah, I don't care about potential too much. That doesn't enter my axiom all that much.
I agree with that as well.
Okay, Nico Pluto for $2, longtime supporter. He says, "Bravo, thank you for that." Nico Pluto, longtime viewer, longtime supporter. He's been around longer than I have, so that's how you know he's been here a while. Alan Wiggs for £5 says, "No question from me, just sending some love from London and saying the Crucible is the greatest YouTube channel ever. Thank you so much." I agree with that. Everyone agrees with that. If you don't, you're banned. So we're gonna keep it up. We're gonna take care of all the haters, all the naysayers. We are the best channel on YouTube. I agree, and we're gonna keep growing too. FB for $2 says Cypher takes a big L. You want to respond to that, Cypher?
Without more to know why he says that, I can't really. So, I guess.
Okay, and last one here on YouTube, another Landon BS for $2. W Glock, W being pretty, W pro. Okay, just ban this guy too. No, I'm just kidding. Don't ban him. He paid for it. We typically will ban the simps, but he paid for it, so it is what it is. And that is it for super chats, I think. Yep, that's all we got. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you everybody who tuned in the audience. Thank you to everybody who called in, sent your super chats, all that stuff. We appreciate it very much. Before we go, everybody's going to get one more chance to shout themselves out. We'll start with Cypher. Shout yourself out. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you again, Zen, for having me on the Crucible. I would like to come back, so if you'd like to have me, just hit me up on Twitter like you did last time. Everybody, my name is Cypher. I stream under the moniker of Crowdsourced Politics. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube. I cover all things politics. We have several different podcasts, so we also post podcast episodes to wherever you get podcast streams, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Talk about a variety of different things. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to check out the news roundup every Thursday, unless stated otherwise, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you all.
All right, Nina, go ahead. Shout yourself out one more time.
Always a pleasure to see you, Zen, and of course our good friends here. You know, Cypher, Clack, and Glock. It was really funny. There was a joke in my chat of like Clack and Glock is a really funny name for like a show that you guys should like do together. So I think that would be very
I agree. That's
funny.
good.
Yeah, it's a good name, right? But yeah, I find me on twitch.tv/Nina. I stream every day. I think I'm at 148 days in a row right now. We do debates, we do politics, we do news, we do all of that. So if you want to, NEEINA, and I hope to do another debate with you guys soon.
All right, and Glock, go ahead and shout yourself out one more time. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay. You can find me on TikTok. That's where I originated from, unfortunately. But if you go to my TikTok, it's glaucoma with 3 A's. My Discord is in my bio, so you can join our server there. And obviously, thank you, Zen, for hosting this. And then thank you to our opponents. That's it.
All right, and last but not least, Clack Conservative. Shout yourself out. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm Clack Conservative, which is just black conservative with the C and the B flipped. You can find me on TikTok under the name Clack Conservative. Again, I discuss normative ethics and some mathematics. But you should follow me.
All right, well, that'll do it. Thank you again, everybody, for being here, and everybody in the audience for watching. I hope you enjoyed it like I did. I know I did. It was interesting. It was fun. It was very contentious at times, but that's what debates are. But that'll wrap it up for tonight. From all of us here at the Crucible to all of you in Crucible Land, have a wonderful night.
I always forget how to leave. That was interesting. Kind of annoying, to be honest. That was fun, though. I think that it was pretty clear they had no fucking arguments. Oh, wait, hold on. I guess I could go. And anytime I would to ask them about anything, they would just, like, be like, oh, why are you asking me about, like, my positions? And I hope that came off the way that it came off to me, which was incredibly weak. I think that they just don't really want to have a conversation with somebody. They want to just like talk at people, which makes sense if they're TikTok people. That's why she was like being very patronizing about stuff, and I was like, I don't know why you think that I'm gonna be offended by anything that you say. It was just kind of funny to me. I mean, I really hope that it came off pretty obvious that like even like Andrew like going at them that way was like, you're really not making any point. Like and that is like TikTok brain, so it's not like that isn't it's not like that surprising for me. But I don't know, that was pretty fun. I think that we could have maybe been a little bit more like, I think my partner did really well, as in he was like trying to be very good faith in terms of answering the questions and then like go into the theory. But I think personally, I wouldn't have. I think that I would love to debate one of them like one-on-one, like any of them one-on-one. I think that they kind of got the benefit of it being a 2v2 debate because for one, they weren't like at all like together. So they would just use as an excuse. So I'd ask them their position and they could just be like, well, I mean, other person, what is your position? And it was just like, they don't have any positions, like straight up. I think my closing statement was very powerful in the fact that they couldn't rebuff it at all because they don't have any positions. And well, I think Cypher was trying to do a different tactic. I don't think it was particularly the same level of effect. I understood what he was doing. But no, he's a great partner. I just think that you know, we were doing different tactics. I mean, we're aligned. We talked about this quite a bit. So it's like I don't think that at any like level we were I think that they were just gonna be Weasley, that they were trying to play us against each other, which didn't work, of course. And I think it was really, really fucking funny that when it came to the questions, they didn't get like any of them, and they just had to sit there. Something about that was really funny. you hated the ending? What, my closing statement? I thought I fucking crushed it because I think it was pretty fucking clear that those motherfuckers didn't believe in like anything, and he was a little bit too much good faith. But like, I think that was the tactic he was doing. Like, I'll just say we worked out this beforehand, and I don't think that he did anything necessarily wrong. It's just we tried different. We're gonna try different tactics. So I think what maybe I would say is that we should have been a little bit more direct on what the position is, because once I tried to grill them on their position, they like folded, and I don't really think that we kind of like did a Mott and Bailey. You know what a Mott and Bailey is? It's like a kind of like a good cop bad cop thing, where you kind of get them to say stuff because one of them is seeing like really good faith, like where that was him, and then I was the one being more aggressive. So I think that it was really useful, because the reason why you use that tactic is because you can find out they then become very honest because they either go after the person and then show their true colors type of thing, or they'll like admit, like it's just a way to get somebody to show who they are, and they did. Like the fact that I was like saying that, and then she was gonna do like this, oh yeah, you're like your partner, like I don't think you're your partner, like it was really obvious to me at least that they were like not, for one, good faith, not that that's a surprise to me, but that they obviously were like, they were so resistant to me asking them any personal question. They wanted us to answer all of their questions, but like they didn't want to answer a single one of them. I asked you like, or asked them like, okay, so why is abortion wrong? They couldn't say anything. It's just wrong because it's wrong. I'm like, okay, but why? And they like couldn't say anything. I thought that was really obvious. Like again, even like Andrew was like, just like you can't just like say that. Like you have to have your position, because then I could just say, okay, well I think it's pretty fucking cool or whatever. And it's like then we don't get anywhere. Like it's like baby brained arguments, you know? Like that was like honestly, I'm not surprised that that was how it went in a way. Because they just don't understand the entire they're like, why are you wanting to, I'm in a debate, why do you want to debate me? Like, why are you asking questions about like why are you asking like debate questions? Like, what are we in a debate or something? It's like, yes, we are. Oh, yeah, that was pretty funny. I think that's a good learning experience. I think I would love to talk to one of them one-on-one. I would absolutely love that. That would be my favorite thing. I do think that it was a little fucking sexist with that like the girl chat or whatever. I mean, again, she would only say that to me, she wouldn't say it to him. I don't think that I mean, and that's fine. I think that actually is more telling. That was a little tactical, not saying that we necessarily planned that, just saying, a little tactical. But yeah, they act like it was irrelevant for me to ask questions. Very funny. Why are you asking questions in a debate? I'm like, I'm trying to get your positions. Like, it's like very Boots-esque, where it's just like, I'm asking you for your positions so I can understand your argument. But their argument was just based off of like feels over reals. Like, it was very weak. So I think it spoke for itself. Even like the guy, the host was weird. I mean, it's not the Crucible. I'm not that surprised about that. But I think he was just trying to be funny about like the girl chat or whatever. I mean, ironic sexism is still sexism, but it's funny. I mean, I get it. I'm not offended. I think that I would love to talk to them personally. And I'm gonna actually reach out before I forget. I really need to pee though. Give me 1 second. I really need to pee. I'm sorry. I was like, oh my god, so the questions. I'm like, I really need to pee, but I thought we were at like at the end. So give me 1 second. pick it up. Why the fuck did subtitles just randomly turn on? Oh, sorry. I don't know. How do you think that we did? I think that we did really good. Because the point isn't to like do like a significant dunk. It's just kind of like when I realized how ridiculous they were being, I was like, okay, let them cook. You know, let's just like see like, okay, can you answer a question? Like, they just like were so offended by the concept again of like asking a question. I thought it was like, wow, you look really fucking weird right now. I was like, okay, well if they're gonna be that ridiculous, let them fucking cook, you know? In her humor so she understands the host. I mean, that is true. Ironic misogyny is pretty fun. I do ironic misandry just to be fair, but I mean, I get it. Like fighting a bit. I mean, yeah, it just was a little weird. Sort of hard to beat because I mean, yeah, it was feels and SAT words, and I was just like, can you explain your position? Because like I think this is like what young, because that guy was 18. The guy's 18, so makes a lot of sense that you're not really trying to get your position across. You're just trying to. He very much had like, I mean, they both were TikTok brained, where it's very much like I'm trying to look smart in a, you know, what's the longest the TikTok can be, like a minute long clip. Or whatever, and it's like when I ask you your positions, they can't answer it. Like I just like want to know what you think. You know what I mean? Yeah, like copy paste. Like that person, like that person came on with a "Make America Great" hat. He doesn't have any positions. He's just doing it for the clout, which again is why I thought my what did you think my outro was? I thought that was really powerful. Of my thoughts on them, that they don't believe in anything. You came on here with a "Make America Great" hat and didn't go to any rally, never have. You don't really give a fuck about this. You're just doing this for the clout. And I guess I don't know if I have to say anything more than that. That is my position. I really would love to talk to one of them. Oh, before I forget, I will message Zen about that. Also, what the fuck was them, like, banning synth? What the fuck was that about? Establish. Doesn't have to be on the topic, but of course. Okay, message. I'm just. Well, I mean, they didn't say anything. The thing is, it doesn't matter what they said. They weren't like. I mean, I got really annoyed with the neurodevelopment thing, and I wish he wouldn't have gone into it. But I think he was, again, trying to be very good faith, which a tactic we spoke about. And I just think that got a little bit too much in the weeds. It should have been. I wish I would have been a little bit meaner. Actually, I think we did that perfectly, to be honest. I think I was good enough at being mean, and he was good enough about being nice. I actually think we did that almost perfectly. I am autistic, absolutely. Or borderline, my psychologist says that I have like all of the traits of being autistic, but it's like go either way. I'm on the spectrum, we'll say. So I have friends over, so as much as I love you guys, I gonna go hang out with them. So let me send you over. Do we have anyone that's streaming? I can give a host Reno too. We'll be here tomorrow. I think we have another debate tomorrow. Fuck, what do I have tomorrow? Okay, hold on. I have a debate tomorrow. Oh yeah, do CEOs like suck basically? That's gonna be at 7 o'clock with Playing with Fire. It'll be on that channel, so it's gonna be for some reason about dating, I assume. I don't know. It's gonna be some like big YouTuber. Did no research for that. Usually like, yo, do you think CEOs suck? And I was like, eh. So hopefully that doesn't get into the weeds. I'm gonna try and control the conversation more with that. But thank you everyone for being here. Wait, did we have somebody who we should have raid? Wait, Katie, are you streaming? All right, somebody give me who we're raiding here. I don't know who that is. What the fuck is Lord Spew? Debates sometimes. His music though. I shouldn't have asked you for that. I don't even know who these people are. He's an animator. I feel like you're just trolling me at this. He has songs about police. I hope they're negative. They better be negative. Lilac doll? Okay, we can host if I can spell it right. That's like the biggest problem. You gotta make it really easy for me to fucking copy paste here. Okay, let's see if I can spell this right. Lilac doll. We'll do that one. Oh my god, I just completely spelled that so bad. Yeah, but how gay is she though? Because it's Pride Month. This is a joke. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and send you over to Lilac Doll. Hopefully she's not like a Nazi or something. She's pretty cool, I guess. Love that for her. She's doing music. Thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. We have another debate about some CEOs and shit. Thank you all for being here. Have a fantastic night. And hopefully Lilac Doll is not a Nazi. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure she's lovely. Have a good one.